Ladies, gentlemen, and those of indeterminate stripe, hello. Hello, chat. Yes, I see you. I see you chanting. Shell back bow is there. Noble shield is there. Cyrus, right? Hello, Cyrus. Your reposts are always appreciated, sir. Theodore, hello, Theodore. Greetings all, greetings all. I am here. I am here. Celeste is here. It's not just soon, Celeste. It is now. Jesse Dale, hello. Hello. Immortal Rising Comic Books. Hello, sir. It was a pleasure to find you today. It was actually very nice. Your work looks brilliant. I will tell you that for free. My grandest champion, couple of adventurers, has arrived. We've got Jack McCarthy. Jack's a very strong name, sir. Well, hello. Samuel Roberts has been here all day waiting for this damn stream to start. Why? Why would you bother? In fact, Cyrus was here 2 hours ago waiting for the stream to start. Hello, Cyrus. Yes, welcome, welcome. It's Ultra. Hello, Ultra. Right, and Swords and Stones. Hello, guys. I've got to say, I'm here sort of. We've got a few guys in the wings waiting to come on here as we're all filing in. I'm going to quickly refresh my page here. 376 subscribers now. I am just watching this number tick up slowly but surely, and it is a great feeling. So thank you all very much for the support, because we only hit 300 a couple days ago, and we're already approaching that 400. We're nearly half of the way there to where you guys can give me some money. And that's what this is all about. Anyway, the mod wife is here. Do you want to wave, mod wife? There she is. She's going to be keeping an eye on all of you. That's Vixen, eh? So do behave yourselves. Before I bring in some guests, you guys may have noticed that I uploaded a video not too long ago where I was going through Dragons of Autumn Twilight. I am now a little bit of the way through Dragons of Winter Night. And it's so much better. I didn't know how they could get better, but it is so much better. I think it's because it's just more focused. It's a lot more condensed. There's more going on more quickly, I suppose, in the narrative. But I really enjoyed Autumn Twilight. I'm very much enjoying Dragons of Winter Night. And of course, when that book is done, I will be bringing out a video of my first impressions, probably a little bit more concisely than I had otherwise. Now, we've had a bit of a week. I'm going to try and keep things under control, but I do have some older gentlemen with me today, let's say. And they tend to be opinionated on topics of politics and religion and whatnot. So we'll see if we can keep them on track. Let's see who first, but the only one of them I can see still on camera. It is the always slick-looking, always well-spoken DM Wisdom. Hello, sir. Hello.
Oh, what? I'm
Slick.
supposed to be yeah, slick and focused, as always. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, friend. How are you doing?
Good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
No. As I say, you're always welcome. But I know that we are notifications in servers get lost.
All right.
Because I'll be honest, most servers I'm in, I'm muted because there's too many of them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if I want someone in particular, I've got to go straight to the source. Like, you know who I haven't spoken to since we did that safety tools stream? DM Wisdom. Let's go see if the man with the much better facial hair than I wants to be on the stream.
Yes.
In fact, we have in chat here, my word, the beard, the moustache.
Wow. It's not much, really. It's I just trimmed, so it was getting unruly and like kind of doing weird things. And there's only so much like tree sap you can use to get
Tree
this thing
sap.
to do what it needs to do.
So are we saying that you're a druid in your spare time? Would that be an accurate class for you, druid?
That could work. I like
Yeah.
that. I'll take it.
Nice.
Naked in the forest.
Oh. Do you know who else once had a glorious beard, but disappointed me when he showed up on stream last week? It's the artist of 5th edition Demon Lords. It's Richard Witters.
Oh.
He's muted.
Hello.
There you go. Hello, Rich. How you doing, mate?
Hello. I'm doing good. I'm making spotted tea.
Spot of tea. I do like a spot of tea. I do. What sort of tea you got?
I got King Cole tea.
I don't know what
Finest
that
tea in
is.
Canada.
Canada. King Cole. I got some Yorkshire tea. I do from up north. I do indeed. I do, sir.
Oh goodness.
Accentception.
Yep.
So no, I'm glad to hear. How's Winston? Where's Winston? He's the one I invited.
He's upstairs. I'll grab him in a minute.
Nice. Well, he's being lazy.
He's been piddling on the kitchen floor, so he's currently in piddle prison.
Piddle prison. That is a no-no.
Yep.
We don't do that.
Yep.
You know, in terms of facial hair, there is a man of many facial hairs that was a little too under the weather last week to be here, which I'm gonna bring in. It is indeed the man that's meant to be my co-host. It is the graph paper architect.
Nanu.
Nanu indeed, sir.
I'll try to mute my mic before I get into the lung butter.
How are you?
No.
How are you feeling, my friend? You not had a good week of it, I see.
Vertical. I'm happy to be vertical at this point. Yes, it's no longer horizontal.
You
Or
look
couch
as if
surfing.
you've been through it. That's
Yeah, it
nice
was
little
Hell
soul
Week.
patch you got there. Nice little arrow.
Thank you.
soul
Yes,
patch.
I was listening in, and I thought I would send you a picture. Let's see. I don't know if you can make use of it on the stream, but here you go.
We will have a look.
There. Just so you can't really see, but
Oh, is this is you as what you mentioned a few weeks ago? Let
yes,
me.
just to
I
show.
can put that on
You can crop me there,
if I can find present
just so I can have my
share screen.
fur chops.
There we are.
Yeah.
Look at it. Glorious
that-
indeed, sir.
That's totally-
oh, you're looking right fine, you are.
Thank you. Have you happened to seen some rotten little scallywag? He calls himself Pan, and I'd love to skewer the little bastard.
Hey.
That was yeah. I grew all of that, and then when you said so much tree sap, and it was, I had to beard wax it so that I could curl it up for Hook, but right before Hook, I played the Deacon as well. So I did 3 parts in that play. And so I combed it down like walrus, and it went down over my lips. Did the walrus for the Deacon, and then, yeah. But you go ahead and go on your show.
We do have one last person. I have saved the most excellent of us till last. For this gentleman, I met very early on in
Winston.
the. It's Winston. There you are.
Hey.
Yeah, that's who I was introducing. The best of us. No,
The best
no, I'm
face.
sorry. I'm sorry, Winston, but it is not thee. No. You see, there was a gentleman that I reached out to very early of last year, maybe slightly before last year began, and he was very kind to me. Gave me a lot of answers to a lot of questions about first edition Dungeons and Dragons. Hello, Josh Butler. Welcome to the stream. We are, of course, talking about the man himself, the delver of dungeons, Bill Sylvie.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, sir. How are you?
Good. I'm doing fine.
Let's get
On
this.
behalf of a small moribund channel, thank you, an up and comer, a big mover and shaker in TTRPG YouTube for having a little small creator like me on.
Man, you dwarf me. Sil Bilvey. Yes, it is indeed Sil Bilvey. I can't make that joke with his username though, because it's Dungeon Delver. And if
Yeah,
you do,
I that is built in anti-spoonerism defense there. So
So, do you want to know a really interesting thing about my wife's name?
what's that?
Hey, babe, did you know your name's a palindrome? I just got a death glare. Yeah, everyone tells her that. Right. No,
It's a
gentlemen.
good way to see if a relationship is working. When you have to save versus death ray.
Celeste is very right. People do not forget to like the stream and subscribe to me for quote-unquote amazing content. Good endorsement. Celeste, if you want to jump in at any time, you just let me know. Gents, today and yesterday and perhaps the day before, there was a conversation happening. I wish Kyle were here because he sort of started it in my my end of things. Railroading in your tabletops.
You're wrong if you do it. That is objectively correct.
I would agree. I would agree.
I totally disagree. That's
There we
why-
go.
Well,
right, we've
you're-
got to fight. We've got to
That's why I
fight.
use
That's
my
brilliant.
ultimate
You're free to
Photoshop
disagree
skills
with me, but
today.
you're wrong. You are.
I don't know
you
if
are
you s-
incorrect.
No,
So-
I'm totally correct.
We've
No,
got
you're
wizard,
not. Okay.
Wizard versus fighter. My money's on the wizard. Not going to be... So we'll come to you two last because I feel that's where the sparks are going to be, and I'm
And
enjoying.
then, I already
the way
have the
that's
music
gonna-
in my head, Bill. I've got dun 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 dun.
Yeah, he's feeling better, everybody. He's feeling better.
Yeah,
He's all right.
somebody got into the NyQuil autos.
So we're gonna... Have you been at the church wide again, Vicar? No, he's
I
dying.
did.
Oh,
I did.
dying.
Like, well,
right. We're going to start with the most suave-looking of us. Obviously, that's me. No, it's not. Mr. Wisdom,
What?
you're there with your pipe and your beard tree sap trees of the beard,
Yes.
railroading.
Uh-huh.
What is thine opinion, sir?
If you're playing an adventure, like a pre-published module, by all means, stick to it 80%. My week in and week out, I have no clue what I'm doing. It's all sandbox and just go, and I riff off of what the players want to do. So my normal game is completely sandbox and off the cuff and tables on the fly if need be. But railroading is the number one thing that made me want to stop playing RPGs. Was
Really?
being in those sorts of environments.
Mm-hmm.
And where I was just like, there's no way out of this. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to sit here for 3 hours out of my time and try and figure out some friggin' puzzle that some guy in Lake Geneva came up with 30 years ago. So, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, that's fair. So you're on the no railroad side of the things then. Well, you're getting off the train.
Yes, but I believe there's a place for it.
A place for it.
I believe there's a place for it.
I would agree there is a place for it, but in a very, very specific circumstance.
In the
But
I would
I'll
say,
get on to that.
one shots, convention games. Put
Like,
me
this
on
is
the
what you're
track
doing,
and
deal
let's
with
go.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Look, guys, we're on a time constraint here. Look, you're in the dragon's dungeon. Yeah, now you're in this room. Now you're in that room. Now there's a dragon. Roll. I understand that. Mr. Witters,
Yes.
railroading.
I would define it first. I think what pops to
idea.
mind when somebody says railroading to me is you've set us all down and you're going to walk us through your novel you wrote. And we don't really get to choose anything. We don't really get to choose anything. There's a lot of the things where it's like, oh, I'll try to open the chest, or I'll try to. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You have to go up the stairs, right? So when it comes to that, to me, that's railroading, and it sucks. Then there's like player flailing, which is like you get a bunch of players, and they really. I found this a lot with new players. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They don't know what they can do. So you have to give them some guidance. And a lot of times newer players too. It helps to give them some rails, but not a straight railroad. But at least give them some ideas of what they can do, or let them achieve something. And then, but the way I prefer to play is completely. I just let the players go crazy, and they know they can do just about anything.
Roll with
and I
those
just let them go
punches.
wild. Yep. But that
Alright.
first type that I would define as railroading, it's awful. And like DM Wisdom said, it can make people quit the game. It's like that was no fun. Yeah.
Hey.
So before we get on to GPA and the Delver, I'll give my opinion because I'm more important. Hello. Ooh, would you look at that? Right, hold on, 2 seconds. We've got someone do like a wrestling interruption theme. Do they still have those? I don't watch wrestling. Haven't done for a while. The wife's singing one, but I don't think the mic's gonna pick her up. Keep going. She's got to click the link, so keep it
Really?
going.
There's Link? Oh man! Anybody?
Yeah,
got
we're
a
gonna
good
bring in
joke?
Link. He's just going yeah, all the way through. Anyway, while she's coming, I'll start what I'm going to say, and that is that I don't like railroading myself. I'd prefer to give is a world, go nuts, and from there just sort of roll with the players' punches, as Mr. Witters was saying. But also, as Mr. Witters was saying, there are two very specific circumstances in which railroading, I think, is kind of necessary. And that is, one, I have actually seen several times when my groups were very new, just complete player paralysis. Like they're like deer in headlights sometimes. And you give them a town, you give them a world map, and you say, here's the thing you could go and explore. What do you want to do? What are your character's goals? Do you want to make money? Do you want to kill the bad guy? Do you want to sleep with as many beautiful bow wenches as possible? Do you want to go and go to the dragon and kill a dragon? Like, what do you want to do, guys? And they all just go, yes. And so I've then got to kind of, gently hold their hand as they sort of dip their toe in the shallow end of the game and then sort of push them in when they're not looking. So there is player paralysis, I think, is where some rails are needed. And also, as Mr. Wisdom was saying, convention games, which I don't play at. But one-shots that I do run is, yes, we're doing this today. I'm sorry, but I made this dungeon. We're going to play this dungeon. Right, where is... Behold, howling at the moon, come forth, Celeste Lumina.
Oh, woo! I'm here. Hello.
Did you just ooh us?
I'm barking. I'm not coughing.
GPA is steadily dying. Steadily
No,
dying.
GPA. Oh, no.
Relapsing back to the couch he goes. Horizontalness cometh. Right. So, in fact, this means I'm pushing back Delver and GPA more because I want to hear from Celeste as she's just arrived. Celeste, railroading.
Oh, dear. My opinion on railroading. Well, I kind of share the opinion that, it has a time and a place for it, Especially, I think, for new players, because when I first got into TTRPGs, I benefited a lot from railroading because I could actually learn, all the things I could do. It helped me with mechanics and helped me learning, so I rolled this die, and then it helps with percentiles and adding in the bonuses. But even then, I also kind of believe that railroading kind of helps with new DMs as well, because you can kind of work with your players to kind of help you learn what all you can change the world around them to do and guide them along the path. Because especially when you're a new DM, the last thing you need is a group of players just to go off into Wonderland and mess everything up for you, because that causes, I don't know, I think panic for a lot of new baby DMs, especially that I
The
see.
babies. Yes. In fact, we did just that to the baby DM. He expected us to go one direction and didn't say anything when we went another. But of course, here's some free advice for all you baby DMs out there, and I'm sure there are none of you watching because there's a DM shortage. just move the content that you had in mind to the other place. Just put it in their path. You'll be fine. Until you're able to kind of roll with those punches, just move things around. They won't know.
GPA thinks that's BS.
Brilliant.
Coming back.
In that
I'm gonna
case, we'll
send the
go
gods.
to GPA next,
Oh,
and then we will bring in Senpai at the end. GPA, railroading.
I think Richard has a very good point that definitions of terminology needs to definitely happen. However, my argument, my opening volley will be that it's all railroading. You're always railroading. Everyone is always railroading. Now, there are good things and bad things. I mean, it's always good and bad in anything that you're doing, no matter what it is. So there can be good railroading, and then there could be, as Richard was talking about, where you just, oh, well, I want them to go to the castle, so there's guards on the tower, you can't leave the town, and there's a typhoon, so you can't take a boat, and this and that, just keep on coughing up anything to make them go to the castle. And then when they still won't go to the castle, you have them get jumped by the guards because the guards think they owe taxes, and they're drugged to the castle. There's bad ways to do it. But yeah, so there's my opening salvo to Dungeon Delver. We'll see how he responds. Everything is railroading all the time,
You guys ever see XP to level 3's railroading skit on YouTube?
and it's good. For the most part, it's very good.
Where like we're gonna go to the bathhouse. The king rises out of the bathwater and says to you, Delver,
yes.
go ahead. Tell GPA he's a moron.
I'm not going to tell GPA he's a moron. There's no reason to sling invective around. He is objectively wrong, and I am objectively correct. Railroading is bad. It is bad DMing, and the idea that, but a beginner DM needs to railroad. The Dungeons & Dragons that I began with was a copy of Keep on the Borderlands and a set of dice. That was all. I didn't have a set of rules. So you might think that, well, with only a module to work with, clearly you had to follow them, and yet that wasn't the case. As far as running a module, if you're running a module, well, then it's a railroad, because I run a game with 11 players on Monday night. First edition AD&D, we're currently doing the Giants modules. If my players
This is the
looked
one you
at
stream,
me and
isn't it?
said, you know what? Gorna can fend for itself. The Duchy of Jeff was doing just fine before we showed up and started getting killed on a regular basis by hill giants and frost giants. And of course, fire giants are right around the corner. Spoiler alert if you never looked at those modules. They're within their rights to tell me as the DM, we're going someplace, we're seeking adventure elsewhere. I'm not going to pull a quantum fog cloud that prevents them leaving the kingdom like everybody and their brother's favorite module Ravenloft does. It literally shrouds you in fog that doesn't permit you to leave. What are some more? Somebody was after me. You have to try the Dragonlance modules, but I picked up a Dragonlance module in a used bookstore once and was leafing through it because I'm of the mindset that if nothing else, there's good maps. So I grabbed a Dragonlance module and started flipping through it. And the author, I don't know if it was Weiss or Hickman, said, make sure that the characters survive. If they don't survive, come up with some contrivance that they survive. That's bullshit. That is bullshit that is higher than my ceiling. Make sure they survive, and if they don't, come up with a contrivance that they do. That is ridiculous. That is welcome to the game. Here's your script. If you want to write a novel, if you want to write a light fantasy novel, you're absolutely well within your rights to. I think everyone should try it because there may be a burgeoning author under there. Don't inflict your writing on your players with the idea that they're not playing a game. Go look at the D&D horror story YouTube videos that are just replete with DMs who have basically done that. They've decided they're the next Martin, the next Tolkien, the next Weiss and Hickman, and said, okay, well, this is happening to your character and this is happening to your character. And then when the players rebel, either it boomerangs on them and what they wanted to do is not allowed, or the DM just throws up their hands and said, you guys aren't following the story. Railroading is bad. It robs players of agency. If you're going to just dictate a story that's going to happen so and so and so and so with some dice rolling here and again, why did I get in my car and drive over? Why did I knock out a wedge of time, whether it's sitting behind my computer, going to the comic store, going to a friend's house, piling up and going to a convention, when all you're going to do is sit there and recite a story to me? I will not get on the railroad. I will not let myself be put on the railroad. I will not put my players, any players, on a railroad. Yes, even at a convention. For playing Tomb of Horrors,
a one shot? Like, say you're gonna you sit down to play a specific dungeon. One of your players goes, right, guys, we're at the entrance of the dungeon. Let's turn the F around and go to the town.
I have an entire book full of possibilities to throw at them. Now, from a standpoint of setting up miniatures and terrain and Dwarven Forge, when I do that, yeah, that's kind of a pain in the ass. But generally speaking, the players will come up with ways to engage when you present that kind of an adventure. And with that said, once you're in you say, oh, okay, well, you're going to run Tomb of Horrors as an event, at a comic book store or a convention or Games Day or whatever. Once they're in that dungeon, Bill, aren't they on a railroad? No, because if they tell me, hey, I'm going to use my spell, you said we could pick our spells. I'm going to just start casting Transmute Stone to Flesh, and we're just going to hack through the walls until we get to a Cesarak's tomb. Good for you. I mean, that's
clever.
That is some ruthless dungeon solving right there. I'm not gonna stand up and say, no, the walls are resistant to that. You have to walk through the dungeon. I do not.
I
and
actually
will
have
not
a
run a railroad.
example
I'm
of
not going
something
to do
similar to that you're bringing up that happened in the last session I ran 2 weeks back. I had a dragon rider encounter because we started playing Tyranny of Dragons and I found it was too much of a railroad, and so we stopped playing the module. And now we're doing my sandbox version of Tyranny of Dragons instead.
Okay.
And bit of background noise from someone there. But what I was saying was there was a dragon rider encounter. There was a young white dragon, and on his back was a rider. The paladin has a command ability, and got in range of the rider and commanded him to jump off. The rider critically failed the saving throw, and I could have just gone, you know what? He's immune to being charmed. But no, I didn't make him immune to charmed. Instead, that rider jumped off, survived on 2 or 3 hit points, and then was murdered by the gnome.
Yes.
And so the dragon flew off into the distance, and this actually resulted in the death of the gnome as well, because it's a whole other thing that I shan't bring up again.
Hey, that's wonderful. The players won, but a gnome died.
Exactly.
I'm there for it. That wasn't happening at all. The player won, but a gnome died. I think that's lovely.
Well, I can tell you the actual story if you like. This gnome character was chaotic evil. And he was a player character, but he was working against the party. He was trying to work on behalf of the cult of Tiamat. And so he was like, yeah, I don't mind you coming and doing that. That sounds like it would be fun. And so this encounter happens, and they start interrogating the Dragon Knight after he's fallen off his dragon. And the gnome realizes that the Dragon Knight's going to give information up. So what does the player do? Sidles on up to the Dragon Knight, shanks the bugger. Just full view of the party, full mid-interrogation, shanks him. So the paladin knocks the gnome out and ties him up. But as the gnome is leveling up, so mid-level up, because the death of the knight was just enough to level him up, the paladin brings out an artifact that I created for this campaign. And what this artifact is called the Star Sapphire. It does a lot of good things for creatures of good alignment. If a creature with less than 100 hit points of evil alignment touches it, they take 10d10 plus 10 radiant damage. They gave it to the gnome to make him hold it for a moment. And that player was on 1 hit point. Mid-level up, 67 points of radiant damage later, he was dust in the wind, quite literally. So there you go. Don't railroad, you get stuff like that happening. It's quite fun. Let me bring back in Celeste. Ooh, someone's moving about. I think that might be... DM Wisdom, where is your mic located?
On my computer. I can change it to my phone, which is...
What? Might be you, might not be you. I honestly can't tell.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better. Much better. We were having a bit of a shuffle, playing musical chairs. People keep dropping out, dropping in. Right.
My connection
so,
is acting saucy.
You look better.
Yeah,
now.
mine too.
You did look all fuzzy for a bit there, like I'd had a few pints. So you were almost pretty. So railroading, the only one here that really defends it. Well, the only two here that really defends railroading would be GPA, and I think Celeste is more of the camp of using it as a tutorial until someone's ready to fly the nest, so to speak.
Yes.
Sort of a mother hen attitude to things, whereas Dungeon Delver is more push them off the cliff and hope they fly.
Well, I'd like to know a little bit more about GPA, because it really comes down to definition, and then it seems like there's an ideology between you and the Dungeon Delver that, based upon terms, are different. I mean, we wouldn't say that railroading is, putting someone in a world and saying that there's gravity, right? And we wouldn't say that, you have to breathe air in order to survive. I mean, from one point of view, if you take it to the extreme, you could say, well, that's railroading, because I want to be a superhero and I'm from, whatever planet somewhere else. And so I'm just happen to be on this. And so really you're still having that suspension of disbelief or belief even, of what's happening in the environment. And so, is a railroad saying there's a forest in front of you and you have to go through it to get to X location? It could be, from Graph Paper Architect's point of view, but from Dungeon Delver, he's like, well, they can go underneath it, they could fly over it, they can go around it. Well, yeah, but the obstacle is still the forest, or they can turn around and say, F this, and I'm going to go to the tavern and drink, and that's that. Which then what do you do? And so I think there's just a conflict of terminology and understanding of that. And so going back to the idea of what is the definition? What is the concrete definition of railroading? If it really is, this is my story and you're going on it, then forget that. I don't think anybody necessarily wants that. But if it's anything outside of that, then I think that's up for interpretation.
I have known groups that require a lot of handholding and prefer a narrative playing, going through like a series of corridors, so to speak.
Yeah, I remember leaning into a sandbox idea where I laid down 5 or 6 minor events and 5 or 6 major events that were happening in the world. And the players, having that sandbox sort of idea, froze up and didn't know what to do. There were too many things that were either could be world ending and or locally a problem due to whatever invasion or whatever was going on. And the players were like, I don't know what to do. They literally stopped. And we had to stop the game, have a conversation. It was like, okay, if you give us one sort of idea, then we at least have some focus. And so there is that sort of balance, but is that railroading? I don't know.
No, that's adventure hooks. I mean,
Yes.
It's railroading.
No, it's not. No, you're
Fight,
you're-
fight,
railroading.
fight, fight.
no.
It's railroading. It is.
It is. It
railroading.
isn't.
And I'll explain it. Now I'll tell you why it's railroading. Because, and as you were saying,
Well, you're saying it's
definitions in
railroading
terms-
because you want to win the argument, but go on.
Oh, of course. I always play to win, yeah. But, well, in terms of definitions, and in a spectrum, if we can imagine a bell curve, and where, if you get too far from center, you're in a bad place. The problem I think that some DMs will get into is they have a need. They need the players to experience their story and their junior novel story or whatever it is. They need that, and they want that so bad, then they start pushing too hard in order to achieve that goal. And if that's where you need to really kind of understand what you're doing, because if that's your goal, if that's why you're playing the game, well, then you're going to need to learn how to play it in a way that either you talk to your players and all of them are like, yeah, sure, let's go, and they're all on board and everything's fine, or you're going to have to find a way in order to railroad them into that situation without them knowing that they're being railroaded. And that's the difference, a big difference between good railroading and bad railroading. Because good railroading, if I really have it in my head that I want some sort of turn of events to unfold, which I generally don't. I mean, it's like, I don't give a shit. Let's just do whatever we're doing. I don't have a narrative in my head that must play out. You give up that. And, but if I was like, oh, I want this to happen. Yeah, you nudge them just a little bit here and there. This is what's going on, dropping a hint, giving them a clue. Maybe this would be interesting. Maybe this would be fun. Maybe some of them pick up on it, but if they never do, then they never do. Don't go so far from the center that you're like, oh, the town guard drags you before the king and now you have to talk to the king.
The
now
king
you're
rises
too
from
far
the
out of bounds.
bathwater. I would like to say I do appreciate Cyrus Wright here with his Monty Python reference. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am.
And the reason why I say that it's always railroading, because it is. I mean, anytime that we are playing Dungeons and Dragons, pure sandbox is pure railroading. And I'll tell you why. Because as dungeon masters, that's what we do. We lay the track. It's like, and if you lay your track fast enough, if you're quick enough in laying down a turn, oh, I want to go left. Okay, lay down a turn. Now they're going that way. Lay down another turn. Now they're going that way. They're still on your train. They're still going wherever they say they want to go. Oh, yeah, I want to go that way. That's why another one of my wonderful player agency is bullshit. We'll get into that someday, too. But it's simply that fact that you are creating a world. They are telling you where they want to go at that point, fine, but you still have to lay the track for them. They still have to go that way, and whatever it is that they do, they're still going that way. And I understand it can get into the semantics weeds and we could get into an argument, but in my mind, even if it's all just random tables, let's just say you got a newbie DM and it's just like, okay, I've got all my tables like we did when I was a kid, and we had all of the random tables. And they're like, we go east. Okay, roll. It's a forest. Do you want to go in the forest? Okay, see, I've laid the track. I've said, there is a forest there. That is the track. Do you want to go on that track? That's another part of moving that needle from center.
That's
if you go
not
all the way and
railroading.
say, you have to go in the forest.
That is so not railroading, dude. Creating a world for the characters to explore isn't railroading. It's just not. It's, I mean, I honestly just defining every move in an RPG as being on a railroad, that's not an argument win. That's not even a little bit. My character steps forward. You're on the railroad. You've got to bring your foot down on that cobblestone, mister, or one of those cobblestones. So sorry, you're stuck on a railroad is not that's not a legitimate argument against railroads or for railroads for that matter. It's
nice, Aurelian.
I mean, let me give you an example of being on a railroad versus not being on a railroad, and maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from, GPA or anyone. All right, used to be a Disney World. They had these sky car things. They were on a wire, and you got on them in one little world in the park, and you could ride across, and you could look down at the at the teacup ride and the carousel.
I'm still here.
And then when you got to the other side, you get off, and you could get back in line, you get back, and you go over again. But what you could not do was at some point just say, hey, I'm just going to shimmy down when we get close enough to a building. I'm just going to shimmy down and go in Pirates of the Caribbean or in Cinderella's Castle or whatever. You're on a wire, okay? And the difference between being on a railroad and not being on a railroad is if you're in the amusement park and you're like, let's go do Pirates, and let's go do Space Mountain instead. Yeah, okay, all right, we'll go to Space Mountain. We'll go to the arcade on Main Street, USA, yada, 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 all this. Versus, nope, you're just on the wire. You're going from point A to point B, and that's it. You're stuck there. That's, am I coming across clear?
You are, in my humble opinion, and I have to apologize to my number 2 chair here, Delver has the upper hand in his argumentation here. I do understand Architect's point of view, very much so, but I do think that Delver might have the upper hand. Now, before we continue on to Richard and Celeste, just because I want to get those two back in, something was said in chat that I find really interesting. It was by Emmy, and she was talking about how dungeon masters are narrators, not story creators. I actually agree 50% of the way with you, Elven Maid. Really do. Because I think there is a bit of a story master thing that goes on with dungeon masters, and they are playing a character as well. That character is the world. By the way, Delver, the modwife, the tea fairy, agrees with you. So that's all that really matters.
There we go. I think I carried the day.
As I am playing the world around my player characters, I am deciding where the bandits are located. I decide which kingdom is going to make a move against another kingdom and in what fashion. Do the dwarves have a quest available at present? I can either roll a dice on a table to see if they do, or if I fancy doing something dwarfy, I can make sure there's something dwarfy available for the players to do. It doesn't mean that I'm putting the players on the railroad to there. I'm simply making sure that there are certain events happening in the world that I'm crafting that the players can interact with. It also means that if there is a big, bad, evil guy, like there was in my Varfal campaign, she is actually being simulated while the players are in the south of the kingdom. She's in the north doing her stuff to screw them over. And eventually they meet in the middle and there was a big battle. So I think there is something to be said for story DMs narrating the world the players can't see, or in this case, simulating it. Now, before we get back into GPA versus Dungeon Delver Royal Rumble 2025, I don't even watch wrestling. I'm making loads of wrestling jokes. Let's bring in either Mr. Richard Witters or Celeste, depending on which one of you just wants to come in first. I want to hear from you guys.
Actually,
Okay.
I think, if you don't mind, Richard, along with
go
what
ahead.
GPA and Delver are talking about, because I want to make it clear, like I've been gaming on and off for about almost a decade, and I've been DMing for a lot shorter. I don't think I have much experience with it, but what I have learned in particular, I think there is railroading where once you have your players on the track, there's no getting off of it. You are stuck going in that direction. And with railroading, you kind of have the semblance of choice, but it's not really there. But then you also have a guideline to where, like, you kind of have the story where you're going with your players that I believe, the DM and the players are playing together. Like, you're writing the story 50-50 to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
But with a guideline, like, you can kind of have those random tables. You can kind of have it for your explorative campaigns, your narrative, but you have choices that you can actually, make, and it changes the world around you, but depending on your decision. And then there's also kind of hand holding in between, which is like depending on what your characters, your PCs are deciding, you can kind of like push them in a certain direction to get them either back on the track where they're kind of losing it because they're kind of getting distracted by like, oh well, Jimson the Cricket said that there was a magical pool for like a piece of lore. We must go see what it is.
I'm sorry, Jim the
That has
Cricket.
Jim the Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket.
Jiminy Cricket.
Pinocchio themed campaign when?
but kind of those things. But like I don't think like in particular if it came out that way, it was unintentional. I think that railroading, like I said, like it can be helpful in that kind of tutorial area for like new players or new DMs, but it's not necessary. And I think
So,
oftentimes that railroading that way can do a lot more harm than good.
okay, so we've sort of got a railroading is poison, but it's not necessarily going to kill you view from Celeste there. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Fair.
And the reason why I'm saying it is because like for example, a DM that I know, uh he was the kind where like you have all your players and he wanted a particular story. So what he would do is he would make sure that the players followed their story. Well, if they wanted to go on a little side quest, well, turns out that village was destroyed by the time you got there, back on the main quest. Kind of a semblance of choice, or where forgive me, where you kind of have this idea where it's like, oh, well, we kind of have this side character. Well, what are they going to do? Do they have a side quest for us as well? Oh, it goes back to the main campaign. That kind of crazy thing. Like, it seems like you have choice, but at the same time, like, even if you don't really, you don't want the campaign main quest to go down the way it is, and so you're trying to fix it in a way as you do with PC sometimes. But the DM's like, no, it's going to be my way or the highway, the entire way.
That would be bad.
It's very,
That
very.
would be very bad. Right, Mr. Witters. You've been watching from the sidelines, judging.
Yeah, as everyone's been talking, I've kind of been breaking it. I like putting things in categories of 3. So in my mind, I'll put it in 3 categories. The first
Magic
category is, yeah, first category is a novel. So when I'm reading a novel, I have no choice. I have no agency. The plot's going to roll out as it is in the book. Then the next layer I would call like a choose your own adventure. There are set options, and there's various paths you can take, and there's actually various endings and all that kind of thing. But it's kind of limited, and that to me reminds me of a lot of D&D adventures if they're done well. And then you get the completely open, like the DM is adding things on the fly and making consequences and adjusting the world as they go, which I think is gives the players the most impact they can have on your world or your setting or your game. So in my mind, that first one, the more it's in that realm of like a novel, then that's railroading. The second one, which is a choose your own adventure or something like that, is more like we're directing it. There's certain options. I'm being clear with where you can go and where you can't go. I don't see that as railroading. I just see that as more of an organized or guided set of options. Railroading has no options except for the path. And I think that to me is, in my experience, been the most frustrating part. And then super sandbox is like the last one. I do that a lot.
That's
where
hardcore
it's
delve.
I use what I call I use what I call the gutter. We play a game, and then there's 7 days or whatever between this game and the next game, and I figure out what impacts their stuff had on the world or the setting or the dungeon or wherever they're at. And at the next game, I start seeding in those consequences, and some are big and they won't hit them for a while, and some of them are local and they'll hit them right away. But that's sort of super flexible. Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Very
I
intriguing.
got my wheels turning. Let me know when it's my turn, Jack.
I'm good.
If you want to have a go, GPA, I believe the floor can be yours.
Well, I think that's part of as you have discussions and you begin to understand, and as I'm thinking of myself and how my mind works, I think that's why I am saying what I'm saying about railroading, because the way my brain works is that I'm always railroading. I'm laying down track anywhere you go. If you turn left and you go into the forest, now my mind goes, okay, there's a forest and there's a goblin hut there and there's a wolf den over there and there's a this over there. There's a this over there. I've now laid down, all of this stuff. They get to choose what track they're going to take, but it's like I'm always sort of stepping ahead of them and creating. So you see, in my mind, I'm going, well, and so you can call it railroading that way. I think that's it. So when I'm thinking of railroading, I think, yeah, it's a railroad. You're laying down this adventure for them to go on. They're going on it. You're telling them what's there and they're still going on it. But if you consider the idea that you're married to a narrative, let's say that your DM is married to the narrative. And if you're going to do good railroading, you're going to do things that get the players to want to do your narrative and guide them. And if they do go on a side quest, it's like, oh, we're going to go to kill the goblins. And okay, fine. You go in and kill all the goblins. But then when you get to the end of the goblin cave and you start digging through the treasure, you start noticing there's all these scrolls and things and what's going on. Well, it turns out that there's someone in the kingdom that had been hiring these goblins to do all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, really? Well, I guess we could investigate that. And then now, hey, they're back to your kingdom again. That's where you wanted them to go. Good and bad. But that's what I'm thinking of when I say railroading. I think you're laying down track, and for me, it's like if I'm on a good railroad, it's like if Delver on Tuesdays and he has set out all the Dwarven Forge, and it's like, I'm on Delver's train. I know he's gonna hate me now. I'm on Delver's train. I'm riding the Orient Express with Delver.
By the way, let me cut in here to say,
and that's another reason why I say railroading is great, because if you're gonna build the Orient Express, and I'm gonna sit there and put my feet up and have caviar and champagne, and it's gonna be this fantastic adventure, go ahead and tell it. I don't care. Tell me the story if it's a good story. But if it's, half-baked telenovela, I'm gonna get off.
So the wife at Foxy Vixene over on X, she's actually nearly at 100 followers, guys. She's posted this GIF underneath the advert on over on X, which I think is very applicable to this discussion. But we shall be leaving this discussion behind momentarily, as we are approaching the hour mark, if not just on it now.
Are we?
It's going quick. This stream goes quick once it starts happening. I'm here all week waiting to get on stream, and then.
But I do agree with Bill completely. I will say that if all you can do is tell people, no, you can't do that because I said so, and that is the way it is, it's like, nope, not my lane.
You see, agreeing with me is the right thing to do. I'm objectively right. I told you I was at the start of the discussion, and now you admit it. Thank you.
Hey, well, losing to a black belt is losing to a black belt. Okay, I don't mind. You still learn, and you can get back on the mat.
I think there's an interesting thing you were saying there, though, because in my head, the definition of the railroad is the track is laid down and you're going to follow it. But what you were describing was that you lay down track as they go, like Gromit there. And I see those as very distinctly different, right? Like, because when people get that thing, like you're in a town and there's a pub and there's an old keep at the corner of town and there's an old church. Oh, we'll go to the old church. Nope, you're going to the pub. Right?
Yeah. See,
or even better, we're going to go to the old church. Okay, you open the doors to the old church. Inside is actually a pub.
Yes, they made it into a
Oh
pub.
goodness.
There you go.
They call it the quantum ogre. It's like I created this ogre's lair. It's going to be so awesome. It's just to the east of the town. The party starts trucking west, and you're like, you see a cave on a hillside nearby. Well,
Yep,
that could
I
clearly
remember
be
reading
dangerous.
about
We'll turn
quantum
to the
ogre.
south. And they ride
Yeah,
south for a couple of days. You see a cave on the mountainside nearby. You're gonna go in that damn ogre cave. It's
Yep.
wherever the players are gonna be.
It's
Oh, boy.
Schrodinger's ogre.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Chaps,
Schrodinger's ogre.
chaps and singular chaphead. We're going to answer this question quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next part of the stream. Samuel Roberts has been here for the whole of the stream. Hello, sir. Thank you very much. You're here every week. I do appreciate the people that come back. It's episode 3. 3's the magic number, and I am still watching this sub count go up. Thank you very much.
Have cutscene and a scripted scene.
Indeed. Here's a good question. Is it railroading to have cutscenes, as in scripted scenes for the players to see, like introductions for villains or whatnot? I have something very
Unquestionably.
particular to say on this.
It's
we're gonna
unquestionably railroading to do that.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to say something as a DM. I will tell my players, look, you want to stab this guy, fireball this guy, lightning bolt this guy, utter a wish to get rid of this guy. That's fine. My bad guy is going to get to say what he wants, but I'm not going to pull a PlayStation 1 cutscene where, he appears, he says something villainous, he grabs your friend, and then he disappears. Now the action begins again. I won't do that, but gosh darn it, if I've got a good monologue,
You got me monologuing.
I will give that monologue, and then the players can butcher the bad guy if they want. And the same goes for my players. If they've got a dying word, even though they've been reduced to 0 hit points, if they want to say something, they can. But yeah, no, for God's sake, don't put cutscenes, unskippable cutscenes.
skip. Right.
Yeah.
We're going to quick fire this. Celeste, we're going to go to you next. Cutscenes
for
in
cutscenes?
TTRPGs.
Ooh, well, I guess it also depends on Also, I hope that you can hear me
Yep.
better. I tried adjusting my mic levels.
I've turned you slightly down, but we can still hear you. Go.
Okay, good. All right, so for cutscenes, I think it kind of depends, again, on the type of game you're running, your DM and your players that you have, or whether they want it or not. I think long cutscenes, that again, like what Delver says, the villain grabs one of your friends, and then you have to go rescue them. Kind of could risk railroading at that point, but I think they're fine in general with TTRPGs, no matter the game you're playing. If that's just what you like.
All right. Mr. Witters, you're next.
I love using cutscenes. I totally like it makes me think of a game I had once. I just put it's an old classic-y thing. I just put a room, and in the middle of the room was a lever. And the party spent 20 minutes figuring out, do we pull the lever? Do we tie a rope to the lever and pull it when we're not in the room? Do we do blah, 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 all this stuff? And they ended up, because it always ends up, because there's always a Leroy Jenkins, somebody pulled the lever. Nothing happened. Maybe that's you. Nothing happened. So then I just said, nothing seems to happen. And then I did a cut scene where it was there's a cage, a gate, iron gate, and it slowly opens, and there's these 2 red eyes in the shadow, and something with big sharp teeth kind of starts crawling out. And I just give them this cut scene, and then I cut back to them in the room with the lever in their hand, and I'm like, probably nothing.
A bit of fourth wall breaking, but I do find that funny. DM wisdom.
Let's say that I like them in their proper places. I've had players in the past that had dungeon masters that would do minute by minute, real minute in the game is real minute in the world, and all of that. And the first time I came out, and I was like, okay, you've all decided that you're going to go to whatever it was, this keep on the hillside that's 3 days away. And I did one of those, you arrive 3 days later, and you're right at the the portcullis of this keep, or just outside of it. And they freaked out in a good way. They were like, I can't believe this didn't take us 3 whole days or 3 whole sessions to get to this place. And so I think a cutscene can be beneficial, as long as you know when to do them. And I am all about the monologue, but I can't tell you how many times players have interrupted me in the middle of my monologue to cast Fireball.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing!
Yeah, you
me
got me
monologuing.
monologuing. So yeah, that's yes, monologues, and cutscenes in their proper places.
Fair enough. GPA, I think you know you're next.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think that if you cutscenes are great, but also not having them be interactable or at the same time, that's my sticking point. Is that if you have a cutscene but it's there where the characters could interact. I mean, there's so many times I'm playing a game and I'm watching this damn cutscene and I'm just like, no, I would shoot them. I would just kill them right now, because your character is there and you've played all the way up to that point, and if you just hit A, you would shoot them. It's like, no, this is no. But if you have cutscenes that are away from them, or they're not able to interrupt, or this kind of thing, or you go out there and cast hold person, like boom, hold person goes off, everyone is stuck. Well, when everyone's super, no one will be.
There's a lot of Incredibles references going on right now, and I love it.
Yeah.
Right, you.
It all has to be done right, just like railroading. Got to do it right.
So my opinion on this is somewhat varied depending on the situation. I've been in cutscenes as a player where I've actually killed one of the first big bads that the DM has. So the DM had all of his big bads lined up. We witnessed the resurrection of the big bad evil queen as we were the prisoners, and we broke out of our wraps. And the rogue and I was playing a gnome barbarian, and it was hilarious. His name was Sheen Smasher.
Just like a chihuahua with a stick in its mouth. Come on.
He had 2 flails. He just ran in like this. He did really well. Anyway, he.
Because you were in a land with no one wears shoes. No, sorry,
he didn't wear shoes. We killed during this cutscene. We killed the first boss of his campaign, so to speak. Because we ruined it. It was like, we're doing all this monologue thing. And we went in and we just like, you know what, we escape and we're going to kill that guy. So we piled onto him. It was really good. One of the best moments of D&D that I think I've seen. It was really fun. So yes, cutscenes are fun as long as the players are available to actually ruin them at their leisure. But I really like, in TTRPG terms, quick time events. There was, during my Varfell campaign, there was a battle, a big siege happening. And the party was the only one with magical rings that could resist the big bad evil character's paralysis effect when they got close to her. She'd turn up. She had a DC 31 wisdom saving throw versus fear and paralysis. Impossible for those players to beat. But they had dwarf characters that went and gathered items and materials from the southern part of the kingdom to create rings of mithril and sapphire that gave them immunity to that effect so they could actually do the boss fight. And rather than do this big introduction of, here's my big bad evil darkness queen, and then them smack them, said, right, you're at the gates of the city. You're ready to sally forth into this army of giants and orcs. You hear the king blow upon the horn of the westling, the gates swing open, he charges out, and you start leading a group of soldiers toward the riverbank on the outside of the wall to charge up to the Rock of Volim. Quick, roll me an attack roll. And it's just, here's some boom, 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 really quick fire stuff. You've rolled me that kind of number, describe me what you're doing, it doesn't really matter, we're just going to get you to the boss fight. Here's a really cool, interactive kind of cutscene. I kind of base it slightly on the skill challenges from 4th edition. because I liked those as much as they were bad. I kind of liked them. And it's like, here's a load of rolls that you're going to do in quick succession. Now you're in the boss fight, and you already know what's happening because all of the introductions for this fight were made during the skill challenge. Which I really enjoy doing it that way. So you don't just have to have pause. You can have something that is part of the gameplay and then leads into actual more mechanical D&D. But we're going to move on. We're going to get off the railroad. Choo-choo. Train terminates here. The next train is delayed for approximately 5 minutes, as I hear every morning when I'm commuting.
No, we're in a stream. You're diverting the stream. We're each in canoes that are all tied together. A water train.
Man, if I was tied to you, I think we'd be having a bad time.
Jack is
I'd be looking
inhibiting my
behind me going,
agency.
why are we doing
Oh
this
no,
again?
player agency. By the way, guys, I did actually write about Zero Prep and Railroading versus Story and Simulation last year on my blog over at lostlawlibrary.com. Go read it. So, what was the next topic I was going to bring up? I seem to be missing the mark.
Why
Oh,
Dungeon
dear.
Delver is right, and you should listen to him. I think that was your next topic, Jack.
I was leading into missing the mark was like a joke because it's about AC. We're going to talk about armor class. Now I don't know how to do THACO yet. I am learning. We're doing a bit of basic D&D
No.
on the Elven Maid server.
Don't do THACO. Just look at the chart.
Just look at the charts. That's exactly. I've written down the chart on my character sheet. It's in my work bag because I carry it around with me because it's played by
People
post.
wring their hands over 2-hit armor class 0. Just look at the chart.
Look at the chart.
That's-
It's brilliant. It's really easy because I found that. So I just put my strength to hit modifier, my dex to hit modifier. I've got a +1 dagger. I sit that on top. I just apply it to the chart. Brilliant. Done.
Yeah.
Sorted. Don't need to
There
worry
you go.
about it.
There you
I
go.
find it's actually, in some instances, simpler than to hit bounded accuracy AC, which is what I'm going to complain about now. 5th edition, the game that I've been playing for 5-6 years now, the version I've been playing.
It's
uses
okay
bounded
because they've
accuracy.
found new studies that you can reverse brain damage. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine.
There's no helping me, I'm afraid. I'm very damaged. Very good. No, I actually got feeble-minded. The Elven Maid server, we started pulling cards from the deck of many things. I got feeble-minded. And then not only feeble-minded, I then drew the wish card, and I got 3 wishes. I wish to have the most intelligence, which just feeble-minded the rest of the server. I had the most intelligence. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
So, armor class. This is something I've been discussing with Brass Dragon, who couldn't make it today, sadly. Let's say you are playing a knight. I've been reading Dragonlance today. Let's say you're playing a Salamnic knight. You've got some plate armor on. And let's say that you have the luck of Brass Dragon, my friend, the Brass Dragon. And he actually plays a paladin in the current game. He's got 18 AC. Quite high. Every single attack that I roll against him hits. He's got really bad luck. His AC means nothing at all. He's level 7. I remember a time in 3.5 where you had 3 ACs. Was it 3 ACs in 3.5? You had your touch AC, you had your flat-footed AC, and you had your AC. Is a static armor class in these newer editions, is it missing the mark? See what I did there? Because it doesn't take into account your growth as a warrior, let's say, when you're wearing heavy armor. If you're a dex character using light armor, especially in 5th edition, you add your dex modifier to your AC, so you can actually get more AC earlier on if you wear less, which is kind of dumb to me. Graph Paper Architect, you reenact history. I've seen your chainmail. You've seen my shield and sword. You've seen my helm here. Armor does stuff. Like when I'm wearing the gambeson and I'm wearing the chainmail, and I've got the shield, like things just bounce off you that would hurt really badly otherwise. Do you think that maybe armor should have some sort of damage reduction to it as standard? Something like that, maybe?
Well, yeah, there's it depends on how crunchy you want to get. When you're making a game, you can get super crunchy where you've got, weapon type versus armor type and weapon speed and all of the things that are possible. But yeah, it's first of all, you know, you're going to get hit. I mean, it's like you are getting hit. So we would talk about that. Oh, you took a hit, or you're hit, or whatever. But there's a difference between hit and damage. So we would do hit and damage, and that sort of thing. And we played a lot with that. The idea that I like is something I call mitigation. So you have your armor class, which is you being active, you're actively defending, you're actively using your armor and your body and your weapons. Or you have just
See you, Cressy.
flat out mitigation. So if you're just standing there and have no clue and someone chucks a rock at you, your armor is going to take that. So it's mitigating whatever damage because you just don't even know that it's coming and you're going to get hit. Or for whatever reason, the dragon just swipes at everybody. So you're going to get hit. You can't get away from it and you can't do anything about it. Your armor is just going to take that amount. So I like that idea that says you have this much armor. So if you get whatever, I guess they called it the flat footed, you know,
Yep.
or the surprise or
3.5.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's also, I like to use it as mitigation because it's things that are coming at you that you are not going to get away from, like a fireball, lightning bolt, something. It's coming at you. You can't dodge it. You fail your dodge. Now your armor is going to mitigate whatever it is that it can do because you didn't get out of the way. If you can't evade, you get hit. Well, what does that mean? It means I'm wearing this armor, which means I absorb this much damage before actually getting injured. Because that's me. That's what I like.
Nice. Well, Cerulean, by the way, check your DMs because we have a slot available, sir. And if you have something you'd like to say, you're more than welcome to jump in. I brought this up to the Brass Dragon while we were talking about it, the whole dragon claws. And have you guys seen the little shorts that have been going around of one guy in plate armor taking out a group of guys in like piecemeal armor? Because of course, yes, I need to say that Celeste had to leave. Everybody, bye, Celeste. Thank you for coming. What I like about those is like plate armor. What people need to realize is a knight in full plate was the tank of the medieval world. You needed skill and accuracy to get through the gaps in that thing. A rondel dagger still had work to do to get through the chainmail, the gambeson, and all the leather underneath. So cracking that egg, hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I brought up dragons. A goblin with his little twig spear thing that he's crafted out of a rotten piece of wood and a stone stuck together with rat shit isn't going to be able to pierce a plate armor, in my opinion. Obviously, we can't just say the player's invulnerable because that's boring. But
goblin player. Oh, that's right. You have the 5e drain brand.
No,
it's okay. Go ahead with your
the
goblin
goblin attacking the player in plate.
Okay.
I don't allow players to be monstrous races.
Okay.
Give me some credit. So if a dragon was to attack that same plate armor, he could probably just kind of use his claw to open the can and then get the goodie inside, you know? Or like a walnut, just like spit out the armor afterwards. So yeah, dragons hitting through plate armor I can totally get, but like a goblin or a guard getting through plate, it depends how you want to be realistic with it. Mr. DM Wisdom, sir. Dr. DM Wisdom, sir. Am I off the mark? Is bounded accuracy fine the way it is? Does plate armor need a buff?
So I've played and I've written games that have damage reduction, and it's great. I think it's fun, but what you have to look at from a role-playing game perspective is what GPA was talking about. How much crunch do you want? How many times do you want to roll the die to be able to do what you need to do? So I think that's the thing. Does it make sense? Do you want a hyper-realistic game? Then by all means, go and play Rollmaster. and have a roll for every single second of a combat round, and that's going to take you 30 minutes to get through one round easily. So it's where is the fun factor for some people, for some tables? They're all about the crunch and they want that. And so, yes, do the damage reduction, do the, that the, shit stuck beer, a spear sticking a knight just won't get through, period. But then you have, which I hate personally, the idea of hit points being a combination of not only your wounds, but also your fatigue and also luck and all of these things. I hate that concept, which is why I lean more into a lower HP system. And so I think if you're going to talk about armor class, you need to talk about hit points too, because that is part of your armor, which is why a fighter has more hit points by and large. So them taking that damage is representing fatigue or whatever. I don't like that concept. I would rather have a lower HP system. That's why I lean into like basic and expert D&D and games like that. But I think you have to figure out where your crunch level is in regards to that.
I can, that there are things that I'm trialing, because I'm wearing plate armor in someone's campaign and someone's wearing plate armor in mine. Adamantine plate armor at that. He got really lucky on a treasure table out of a dragon's hoard. And what I'm about to trial in 5th edition speak mind is just saying that adamantine plate armor, it's only an 18 AC, vanilla, rules as written, it just means you can't be critical hit. My experiment for the next couple sessions, might stick around, might not, is that it's also going to give you resistance to non-piercing, to non-magical piercing, slashing, bludgeoning. So it's these enemies that are fodder, which there are a lot of, will have an issue getting through the plate. It's not crunchy at all, because all it is you take half the damage if it hits you. It's simple maths, just half it. I'm hoping that gives a good balance of survivability, and yes, I know you don't like the concept of the HP in that, but also means that the thing flows a little more smoothly, because the scatterbrained as my group is, I don't think crunch is going to work. Mr. Witters.
Yes. So I was going to ask you, how are you defining bounded accuracy?
So bounded accuracy, in my mind, bounded accuracy is, as 5th edition presents it, is everything sort of has that sort of 1 to 30 AC. Most things are going to have less than 20 armor class. However, the reason that I have issues with it is when you get into the levels sort of 5 and above, most things are going to have a not insubstantial chance to roll over a 20 whenever they roll. I see it a lot. So when you've got the fighter, let's say he's got plate, he's got a shield. If he's not got, there's no dex bonus to this, he will have 20 AC. Most creatures that he fights when he's at that level will be hitting over his AC. He's not going to be able to use a video game term, GPA, I know we don't like doing that, he's not going to be able to tank damage effectively, but the barbarian next to him, who has 14 AC, but takes half damage from everything, is going to tank damage all day long. So in my mind, it makes less sense for the barbarian who's too angry to die to be taking these hits at the front, and for the fighter to be going down after one round. That I've seen it happen more than once. Someone makes this amazing fighter and then gone. Sorry, the armor you spent that 1,000 gold on wasn't quite up to snuff against that one dude there.
Okay,
that's bounded accuracy.
Okay, well, I would say from the way you're defining it there, that's not a bounded accuracy problem.
No?
That's bounded accuracy with broken math. So essentially, if I was to say you unbound the accuracy, you have higher, right? So so first I'll take it super bounded. You have a 10 armor class. I have plus nothing to hit. so I have about a 55% chance or whatever.
Yeah.
You have a 30 armor class, and I have a plus 20 to hit. It's still the same thing, right? So it's about the probability. So I think what you're describing there, because to me, bounded accuracy could work, but you have to be careful about how you put out your bonuses and how everything works against each other math-wise. Because it's a very fine line. And what you're describing to me is broken math, because if the monsters have way too high a hit,
I think
then
5th edition is full of that.
yeah, then the value of your armor is in the toilet, and you might as well not wear armor, or at least it has not the value it should.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I think in the same breath, though, when you use the original example of a goblin with a spear with someone with a 20 plus AC, they're not going to hit. And so it's bouncing off that armor. And if you're fighting those higher level monsters, they are that dragon that is popping the top and drinking
Not
the
necessarily. I mean, I have seen. There are monsters that I have gone up against that the DM has made using the DM guide rules, which I'm struggling to find because it's been a little while since I've read this thing properly, where it tells you what things should be hitting at to if you're creating your own monster.
Well,
and they get like plus 11s. It's crazy.
One thing I was going to say that can happen with the math, and this might be the other end, is this happens sometimes in 3rd, 4th edition, that where you had higher bonuses. You can get to a level where your characters are really high level and they have a big bonus to hit, and they might have a big armor class. And as you do that, the creatures in your monster manual become obsolete.
Yes.
No goblin is going to hit you. So then you have to do this facade or this other kind of thing where it's like, these are mega goblins, or you're suddenly running into super trained goblins. So again, to me, that's a problem with the math. Neither one is bad, but it can be poorly executed. Because to me, it's like bounded accuracy is like, am I drawing a vignette? Or am I drawing a superimposed picture? Well, one's good and one's bad. It's like, no, they both can be pulled off well if you do it well. But what you seem to be describing to me, and in both those cases, I think, is bad math.
Bad maths.
Yep.
I will probably revisit that then. Maybe revisit my understanding of what bounded accuracy is, because I may have just made myself sound like a dum-dum for half an hour.
No, you're smart.
I know. Thank you. I just wanted to hear it from somebody else. That's not so bright. Oh, that's a shame. Anyway, no, the Brass Dragon and I did actually discuss this, and in his campaign, we are trialing out having Heavy Armor Master as not a feat, but just something that Plate Mail does. Not half plate or split mail, but Plate Mail, you just get that 3 damage reduction, and then when you get to a certain level, it becomes 6, and then 12, and then 24, depending on how bad the math gets. Because believe me, the math in 5th edition gets a little crazy. I mean, I was playing a 20th level rogue, Tabaxi Thief, and at level 20, she gets 2 turns on the first round of initiative, which means 2 sneak attack, and good God, that's a lot of D6. Right. Let's bring in the heavy hitter. Let's bring in the Delver, who despises all things modern that I'm speaking of. Let's delve into the depths of it. He's gone.
No, I'm here.
Oh,
It's time to pay the bill.
It's time to pay the bill.
No, I don't
Someone
have
waiting
any.
to jump in, but we should hear from Bill first.
I don't have any strong feelings either way about. I mean, when you start talking about bounded accuracy and stuff like that, that just kind of, my brain just sort of goes to static. I'm just a 1E OD&D guy. I mean, I know the terminology can probably be retro applied to the game, but again, and I say this, I'm not kidding. I just go by the charts. And as far as armor absorbing damage and damage reduction and stuff like that from armor, that is a fine. I have played many RPGs and war games that do that. I think my first brush with let's call it ablative armor probably would have been in BattleTech back in 1989, where you literally blow chunks of armor off and expose circuits and support struts underneath, and then you start shooting those away. But for Dungeons and Dragons, I just like I don't like critical hits and fumbles. I don't like ablative damage, because D&D to me is a very specific thing, and I like the way that it works. I like a game where I'm jumping in and swinging my sword and taking off the heads of kobolds and goblins and orcs, and we can do this fight in 20 minutes and still have another 3 hours of game to get to, regardless of whether the fight falls. It doesn't take all night, because there's not a lot to do. There's roll to hit, roll your damage, move on. And I, as a player, am not keeping track of, well, wait, did I have 5 points of armor, or did I have 6 points of armor? For D&D, for the purposes of D&D, that's good. It's kind of like there are, I think Milton Bradley's Life had a very simple interest rate thing cooked into it, which is awesome for the game Life. I don't want an interest rate in Monopoly. Monopoly has different goals. It has a different flow of the game, and I feel that when you start piling stuff on, it tends to interrupt the flow of how AD&D combat goes. For me at my table. And the only other thing I would mention, this is something that you guys were talking about a little bit earlier, is regarding types of armor class, not types of armor, and not how you get, but literally what your armor class is. That actually goes all the way back, at least to AD&D. If somebody wants to point out where it is in OD&D, I'll take that. But there is, if you have a shield in AD&D, let's make it just as simple as we can. Plate mail and shield is armor class 2. If you're attacked from the rear or from the side that your shield isn't on, and yes, that actually matters, aspect.
You see, the old Total War games used to do that, and I loved it.
Yeah, so your armor class is actually is worse. Now, and this is something that people really overlook, but they shouldn't. It's in AD&D, and that is helmeted versus helmetless armor class. So there's actually a fair degree of granularity in armor in AD&D, enough already that for AD&D, I don't want to
make it
I think it was DM Wisdom. Was it you who were saying you don't want to turn D&D into Rollmaster? And I'm very much with you. I have played Rollmaster games where the roll was ROLL. But if you take a good meaty fight in AD&D, we kick open the door. There's 11 kobolds in there. In AD&D, with second, third, fourth level party, or even a first level party, that fight, whichever way it goes, that fight is over fairly quickly. It's not an all night thing. You try that in Rollmaster, and that's the rest of the month. If you've got like 2-hour sessions of Rollmaster, that fight's the rest of the month. It's like, what'd you guys do in December? Well, we played Rollmaster. What'd you do? We fought kobolds in a room.
That sounds like my 4th edition days. Bill,
yes.
Do you need to make a move?
I do need to scoot, Jack.
Do you? Because I'm going to trade you out for a man with a glorious beard. But if you want to quickly plug all of your stuff, do the thing.
Yeah, guys. I'm on YouTube at the Dungeon or I'm sorry, at the Delver's Dungeon. Please sub to me over on YouTube. You can follow me
Do it.
over on Twitter. I'm _Dungeon Delver over on Twitter. I used to be the Dungeon Delver, but they wouldn't let me have my account back. But oh well. So anyway, that's all I've got going on right now.
Nice. Right. Well, you may skedoodle. Thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it, Bill. Really, really appreciate it. Hopefully we can get you back on soon.
Of course. Y'all take care.
Have a good one,
Goodbye,
Bill.
mate.
Peace.
Jeez, right. I'm glad he's gone. Right. Let's bring in a man
I
with
wonder if
a...
he took the train when he left.
Choo choo. Let's bring in a man with a
I'm so dead. I'm going to play Tuesday, and he's going to be like...
truly glorious beard. Mr. Witters, remember how disappointed I was in your shaving? Let's have a grand welcome for Cerulean Rex.
I
Welcome,
thank you.
sir.
Oh
Welcome.
my
My
God.
father thanks you. My sister thanks you. And the beard thanks you.
That's a gorgeous, gorgeous beard.
Thank you, sirs. And Jack, you're quite smart. So
Ah, thank you. Yes, stroke
saving
my
that.
ego. Stroke my ego more. Head
How's
gets
everyone?
larger.
everyone doing all right?
It's been a fantastic stream. I'm really enjoying myself. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. Chat, are you enjoying yourself? I mean, there's still 20 of you here. We are. I have to say, it's been quite rock steady viewership for the first 3 episodes. And we are one away from 380. I only hit 300 subs like 4 or 5 days ago, and we're already
Nice.
approaching 400. A couple of adventurers. I will tear the title of grandest champion from you. You best get back down there and start enjoying yourself. That's phrasing.
Beatings will continue until morale improves.
Rally.
That's right.
Cyrus says, great stream, Cyrus. I
On
thank you
GTA.
very much.
Right?
Mr. Rex,
Sir.
armor class.
Yes.
You had something you wish to say. Do you still wish to
well,
say?
Sure, absolutely. I've listened to the most of what you guys have been able to say about that. And you put up my comment earlier about DR damage reduction is a good concept. And I have to agree to some of the wisdom that our friend Mr. Sylvie said on his way out. But at the same time, painting a damage reduction score like an albatross that makes combats take 5 times longer would be irrational and not correct. I'm not going to remember what my damage. Yes, you are. Yeah, my plate armor has a 3. Every number the DM throws at me for damage, I'm taking 3 off the top. I'm definitely taking 3 off the top, and I don't have to remember nothing. I can do subtraction. I can do it silently. I can do it while you're moving on to the next player deal. So I don't agree with it making the game tick anymore.
I think see his point though when he's talking about Mech Warrior though. I think that was part of what he was saying, that you have to track it. You've got to, once you lose some of it, is it less? Is it more? I think that's the sweet spot. If it's a static number, it's like great, done. But it is a level of crunch. Mech Warrior is a level of crunch. Just like, oh, okay, the LRM just burned off your armor. You know, oh, okay.
Well, sci-fi
You have
will
your
always be
little
more
track.
crunchy than
Oh,
medieval man in plate armor.
It took us like 3 hours one time to decide if a person got hit with a Gauss rifle. I mean, we were arguing wind shear and tree cover and partial cover and how
Nerds,
fast,
just
how
nerds.
fast were you that mech moving with its jump jets at 60% thrust and blah
One
blah.
of
Oh man.
Best arguments you were ever involved in, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, speaking of,
we nerd raged on that. It was.
did you
great.
know that the average cow has better wind or less wind resistance than cars? I believe that was always fun to read.
Did you find that by flinging cows?
No. Someone sent me a link of a cow in a wind tunnel.
I can tell you that cow tipping is a myth.
Mm.
I've seen cars.
Get
It's
some of
tractor
this
tipping.
old boys out there thinking, well, we're going to go tip this sleeping cow. You're not moving 800 pounds of beef. Or
It's going to
900
move
You're
you.
not. You're a
Move.
scrawny high school kid. You're going to sit there and go.
I think the idea is you
look at you
scare
and
it.
kill you.
You scare it so that it
No,
tips
they
over,
were
right?
never scared. They just looked at us like, what the hell are you doing? You am not here to feed me. Leave me alone.
I'm glad you know this by experience.
I'm going to say this one time. Moo.
Moo.
Right, I have been sent a meme. It's very unflattering of me, but it's very flattering for you, Cerulean. I will put it on screen. This is Steam Wolf, Teddy Rex, Luke the Poor, goes by a few names. He's he has become something of a librarian. So I'm going to start calling people in the chat as librarians. Let me get the thing.
Don't
here.
you know the Dewey Decimal System? Come on. I know some of you know that. Jack doesn't know that because he doesn't know the good stuff yet. Jack
Dewey
needs to
Decimal
know.
System, was that a coup?
That was Conan the Librarian.
Oh, I didn't know that. It just sounded like you were doing a coup.
Killing me. It's
Okay.
killing me.
Ho, 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 ho.
Killing me.
You're a good sports, Cerulean. Yeah, so I
Conan
tried.
the Librarian, the Dewey Decimator.
Yes.
well, speaking of librarians, because we're sort of coming into what I will call the end of the stream. We'll go a bit over 2 hours because Cerulean's only just got here. I like talking to him. It'd be a shame to get him here and kick him straight off.
Yeah.
But did you guys? This is where all of you will say yes, I did see that video because you watch all of my videos. Did you guys see the video I made on Dragonlance on the Dragons of Autumn Twilight? Just say you did. You don't have to have seen it.
Sure.
Just say you did.
Yeah.
I saw you post about it at least.
Yeah.
so,
what are you getting with that? Legends is good.
Well, that's what I'm getting into. So, as I said, I am a little bit of the ways through Dragons of Winter Night now, and people have asked if I would consider doing a book club of some sort. And I'm thinking I might try such a thing. Oh, it's the Elven Mage. She's home. Welcome home, my dear. We're going to keep going for a bit more so that you don't miss most of the stream. In fact, maybe if all of you say Tea Fairy 3 times in chat, I will get a cup of tea and be forced to sit here for a bit longer.
Tea fairy, tea fairy, tea fairy.
I'm just gonna pop my cup over here, and we'll see if it magically fills with tea or not.
I love to use the bookstores, but I would pay real money if we could just get them all using freaking labels that don't stick. You know,
Yes.
make like a freaking label that will come off of the gloss.
I sell something called Sticky Off, but I think it might also take the gloss
no,
off.
yeah, it eats it'll rip the gloss off.
Anyway, where was I? I was saying that there's people want me to do a book club. I'm speeding along to 2,000 followers on X. I'm speeding along to hopefully 1,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube. I do have a Patreon that I set up ages ago for some cards that I've spoke about before on different streams. Chat, would it be of interest to you if I were to create a Patreon tier that would involve access to something like a monthly book club? It wouldn't be a stream, it would be like a private Discord call where we all go through, say, Appendix N, because I've been doing that anyway. We each read a book over a month, or, you know, you can read more than you want, I suppose, but we read a book. If you've read it before, you refresh your memory. We all meet up and we just talk about the book for a couple hours. There's tea involved, everyone has a good time. If we wanted to make it into more of a stream type thing, I'm open to that as well, but of course I'd have to moderate it a bit more, and that takes more time and effort. The only reason I'm saying make it a Patreon thing is because, good God, I already work full time. I'm doing this in the hopes that I could get some super chats in at some point. And it's a lot of effort, and I'll need to have some kind of support. Shell, I hear you, that's why I'm doing this. But yeah, so book club I think would be fun. Like, I don't mind continuing, because I'm going to talk about books I read anyway, but a book club where people want to involve themselves more. It wouldn't cost much at all. I would say like I don't know, what do you guys think? £5? That's like $7 or $8 per month. That's less than a coffee. Very much less than a coffee, like 2 coffees a month or something. Does that
That's
sound
like a university education in Canada.
Yeah, if you're gonna
Like, what do you
if you're gonna
think?
Patreon, you gotta have some exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else that people really want to have, and
Well,
that's
that's the
gonna
thing.
bring them the value of whatever it is that they're spending. So like
Exactly that.
if I do when we get things launched, and we're gonna have memberships, and members are gonna get things like extra goodies, extra pages, maybe 1-page adventures, maybe another monster, maybe a little grab baggy thing, something that they can take with them and say, okay, we've got extra value here. They'll get access to long form videos where I'll go on, like on my channel, I go on there and I do a little bit of whiteboarding about like scheduling or contract negotiations or, all of the different elements of game design and a lot of the stuff that nobody ever talks about, and then things you got to really put your mind at, and training and education. And it gets dry as hell. But it is good stuff. It's like, okay, pay me $5. Now you can get the long form. You're going to get what we're going to call Into the Labyrinth, where you're going to do that. So if you're going to do book club, and then that's cool. That's a cool idea. But what of Jack are they going to get that nobody else gets unless they pay some money? And no, I don't want you sending me anything in envelopes that have to be sealed and weird stuff. So,
Well, I was more thinking pictures of my feet.
Well, there's that. I mean, really, I mean, people kind of get weird about it, but if you could make money,
No, the reason I bring this up is because it's something people have asked for, but I don't mind doing like a 10-15 minute video on these topics and putting it out there for free, but to actually sit down and dedicate several hours of time to talking with a lot of people about a specific book that we've all set aside, along with everything else that I need to do, it gets a little harsh.
Well,
Richard keeps dying.
And anytime that you're
my
having
love.
live
The
events,
Tea Fairy has blessed us.
Yeah,
So
sorry
we're here
about
for a
that.
bit longer.
My connection keeps dropping out, so I may actually bow out here pretty soon.
Yeah, no worries, man. Well, guys, go follow Winston at Witters Richard on X while he's still with us. In fact, while I've
my
still got
goodness.
you, before
Could you slow down, Richard? Could you please? I've got 6 tabs of Twitter, that I still have to get to, and I was sick as a dog, and you're still writing this just brilliant stuff. I'm just like, when am I gonna get to it? God, thanks a lot, dude.
Did you see the Drow Mage that
It's
Richard
brilliant.
did
Go
it
subscribe to him.
brilliantly?
No.
Oh no, you didn't see the Drow Mage. Hold on.
Is this
I'll
your
go-
work, Richard?
Yeah, the draft.
Huh?
Yeah.
Maybe I missed that. On X?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna get it up on.
Yeah,
screen
I'm not
Oh,
kidding.
you are.
I've got-
Presence.
I'll wait for you then.
Let's see. This one
in fact,
is.
I've seen that you're talking with Feifel now, and Feifel is someone that I desperately want to get on stream, but she's super shy.
This one is. I'll start with secondary skills on page 13 of the first edition. There's that one I still need to read.
That one there. There you go. There's the Drow.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I
Very
did.
nice.
That is gorgeous,
2,
by the way.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I commented or not
3.
previously, Richard, but yeah, that is gorgeous. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Thanks.
I loved your comment about that. The sarcasm in your your introduction to that. But that is I really enjoy the readiness of that figure. That absolutely says Elven. It looks like tall Elven, like a Tolkien elf.
The spider leg staff. The spider leg staff there. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally incredible. The details that you imagine for your figures, they've always captured my imagination. You've got some rich detail, and I can tell you're thinking about those details and what they represent, how they might actually function. makes your pieces very interesting. Yeah, I've been enjoying your figure work, especially for a long time. Since I've gotten acquainted with you on X, for sure.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah. No,
Richard,
I've had things. Oh, sorry.
I was going to ask which what was your time frame of work with Wizards on D&D?
I started, I believe, 2007 on Magic.
Okay.
Magic the Gathering as concept artist.
OMTG? Uh-huh.
Yep. And then 2014, around then, I moved to 5th edition.
Oh, okay.
Right
at the beginning of 5th.
Yeah. Like there was a bunch of people ahead of me. They were obviously getting the books together. Before that, but I kind of came in. All my little sketches for like conditions and those little dice guys and things like that, and I worked with a lot of that stuff. So yeah, but mostly I was working with Chris Perkins, jamming on ideas for adventures. So
I'd love to have a chat with Chris Perkins. I remember listening to him DM for Penny Arcade, I think on like when Jim Dark Magic was first made.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a chat with Chris Perkins. I think it'd be very interesting.
He's a good guy.
Some of the conversations I've had since I've started doing this with people that I would never have thought to have spoken to have been insane. So I'm not discounting the possibility that it might happen at some point. No, lovely. I might, if it's okay, steal this artwork for a token There's a bit of Underdark shenanigans going on in my campaign. I require some drow that may or may not also be dragons. If I may steal this man and give him a drowish name for a bit, I might do that if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I have a bunch of drow stuff. If it's maybe easier to find it in my Instagram.
But there's on Instagram.
Yeah, there's a bunch of drow sketches.
I don't really use Instagram. Like all of my friends use Instagram, and I've just got my phone blows up all day long with stuff they're sending me. I don't open it. I don't use Instagram.
I just post stuff. I always have, it's like Goblin, Dragon, Drow, Winston.
Yeah,
right.
I might actually. She's behind me, so I can't say too much. I might approach you in sort of close to the wedding anniversary about a possible art commission, maybe about a certain drow. But we'll hope she didn't hear. I don't think you heard nothing.
Say no more. Say no more. No, just give us a link to a blind bat.
Though the problem is, whenever I buy her art for her D&D characters, the character either dies or gets retired straight away. Ooh. So maybe I won't do that. It's a curse.
Oh yeah.
maybe Richard could break the curse.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Give it secret.
Right. So no, where were we? Well, we were talking about drow and we're doing art, and we got distracted because Richard's like, "Oh, I've got to go." So I'm like, we need to get people to go follow Richard. In fact, we got one follower for him.
People should follow Richard if you're not.
He's got 35,000 of them, but yes, I should make sure that Richard gets some followers.
Yes, and take some and read it because I wasn't kidding. I've got 4 tabs open. It's great. Love it. Thank you very much, Richard.
On the opposite end,
the wife is going to follow you on Instagram.
Okay, I just pinned a thing on my Twitter for people to post projects they're working on or whatever they're doing. So I put that up in my pin thing.
I will find it.
So that bunch of people who follow me, check that out, and folks.
It is in the chat.
Yeah, folks are promoting stuff. Put it in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Are you wanting to hop off now or hang around for a little bit more?
I better take off. I think I gotta take care of the piddler.
Nice. No, thank you very much once again, Mr. Witters, for joining us. You're always welcome, sir. Always welcome.
Richard, nice to talk to you face to face.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen, and Jack. We will see you soon.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Bringing people together in the hobby space is what I do.
Right.
I'm a community builder in this space.
That's right. That's what you should be.
The funny thing is,
you're muted,
people,
Wisdom.
Do you want to say
Not
something?
anymore. Sorry.
You're unmuted.
We'll hang around for. Do you guys have anywhere to be? Do you want to continue hanging around? Because I've got nowhere to be.
I have a little bit
I'm
more
fine.
time.
A little bit more time. Wisdom, you good?
A little bit more time, yeah.
Bit more time, nice. I only say because there are people that have just come through and they're we missed part of the stream. Well, we've got a bit of a talk that we can do. If the chat wants to suggest anything to talk about, they're more than welcome to. But there is something that I've been thinking about of late, and that is I am a content creator betwixt two realms. I.e., there are people that absolutely hate each other, but talk to me. And that I find that I have a bit of a... I want to call it... Let's talk about how awesome the Elven Maiden is. Yes, you should all go get Tales from the Tavern Inn on Drive-Thru-RPG and make that a bestseller. Most definitely. There are content creators that I've spoken to who are extremely right-wing. I don't know how it's ended up. It's through Wick. And I do mean basically Nazi right-wing. And there are content creators that I've spoken to who are communists. And there are content creators I've spoken to who are diehard Dungeons & Dragons 2024 fans. There are content creators I have spoken to, myself included, because I talked to myself, who hate the new Dungeons & Dragons 2024. I speak to, as GPA, you well know, I co-host Nerd Cognito over on Rumble with Mr. Ryan David and Dying Breed Tabletop Kyle. Ryan David, very controversial figure. I have lots of arguments with him.
Polarizing.
Yeah, so it's... I find myself betwixt a lot of people. And I think it might be because I grew up in this sort of working class family, despite how I sound. But I was surrounded by affluent people. So not only was I dealing with lorry drivers and craftsmen and tradesmen and Cat, if you carry on scratching the furniture, I'm going to throw the cushion at you. Yeah, you. And then I also know that I've also spoken to some very wealthy people. My boss is a well-to-do man. I know I sit by him all day in the office. I have relationships with a wide variety of people who have a wide variety of views, some of them quite heinous, and I find that I get on with everybody. At least I hope I do. There's very few people that I don't get on with. Do you guys find that being betwixt two worlds and building a community like I am trying to do, without getting into culture war stuff too much, is good? Or am I a milquetoast fence sitter that needs to pick a side?
You're not in an echo chamber.
That I'll grant myself that. I'm not in an echo chamber.
I'm trying not to.
That's the first and foremost most important thing, I think.
Definitely.
You're a learned man.
Well, thank you. I pretend to be.
And I'm speaking of that too, of course, from the standpoint of social grace, social wisdom. So what you're describing. It's funny, the things that you said just earlier about being friends and or strong acquaintances with people who just absolutely hate each other, but they like you. This is the second time in 2 days that somebody said this to me. And I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told him. That first, I can relate. And second, it's absolutely a testament to who you are as a person, your equanimity, your temerity, your self-control, your actually sense of self, and just staying within you and understanding who you are and what you stand on, and then not necessarily having to be upset when somebody else doesn't think what you think. It's fine. And I think that's a skill, dude.
Right, I'm basically a Darth Sidious type. It's all manipulation. Turn that on its head, make it go from a good thing to a bad thing. I love doing that.
You can always put it that way too.
playing middle of the road is it's good for business, which I wished WotC did more,
I agree.
and they don't.
If they did, that would mean I didn't cut them off
Right.
6 years ago.
I think as someone that's a business person, and I'm the same way, like I would probably have gone on to 2024. I played 5E for almost a decade until the OGL. And then I rediscovered my first love, which, is first, second edition D&D and basic and Beckme and all that stuff. And so playing middle of the road, though some people will call you out on it, which I think may be where the question's coming from, that you should choose a side, one or the other. Nah, it will decrease your longevity, as you're going to see with D&D, and so I'm constantly doing the same thing. Like, I want to have this whole diatribe about the orc thing. It would be good for my channel because everyone's talking about it, and I could tell off the people that I don't want to be there. But is it the right thing to do? And so I don't know, but looking at it from this perspective, looking at someone else, no, it's better to play middle of the road for the long haul, for the business aspect of what you're doing. Plus, like Mr. Rex has just said, you're able to play that middle of the road and have kind of a foot in both areas to gain a perspective that anybody that is in one camp or the other just cannot have, it's going to inform better decisions for you as you continue down this path.
Now, you did touch on the source of my question, but you touched on the wrong source. So it's not coming from a place of, people have said this to me. It's this.
Okay.
And I'll stop talking and let GPA say something in just a mo. But if you take a look at my channel here, you'll see that most of the videos I do are stories, games, and the like. You'll see that I've got a couple on here which do critique, shall we say, the way that modern D&D has gone. You'll see that the ones that are the meat and potatoes, the creative content, they don't do very well. We're talking a couple hundred views, 80 views on the most recent one with the Death Knight there. But if you take a look at Monsters Are Gone for Woke Reasons with 2.7 thousand views, and then you go to the Dragonlance, only 188. If you go to Tieflings Gone Woke, by the way, that doesn't deal with any politics. I just use the word woke to trick people into watching the video.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And a lot of them got very upset in the comments. And it's got, it's got 2,500 views. Or 2,000 views. Then you go to Problematic Drow and D&D's Dark Past. Drow is something I talk about somewhat often, so I had to make a video on that. That's got 2,000 views. How to Dragon, which I think is one of my best videos. This particular video here, How to Dragon, guys, go watch that video. I think it's a great video. Probably one of my better ones. But it's... the Brass Dragon in chat says it's better to have a few genuine viewers than lots of tourists. I completely agree. But if I want to continue the growth, I do need spurts of it. Even my most recent video complaining about woke moves from Wizards of the Coast, it's less that I'm taking a side, and it's more that I'm just going, why the hell are you doing this? It doesn't work. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like, I need to tap into certain things to grow. However, other stuff doesn't get clicked on. I have met some great people. I've got a really dedicated small audience that I really appreciate being here. But what do you guys do to get views? Like, you've got to talk about the current thing. You've got to feed the algorithm, no? GPA?
Well,
Am I wrong?
Yeah, that's the problem. but
Well, everything.
you're yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's kind of like a train. I gotta warm it up and roll, get my voice
Are you
going.
We're back in railroads, aren't we?
Yeah,
Railroads?
It's on a track. It's
Oh, boy!
get
Just
that
got a
steam
one-track
engine going.
line, man.
God, I
Playing
just
a lot
hope
of-
Bill is still watching. I hope you're still watching, Bill. Oh.
He's gonna start playing Deadlands so he can do the rail wars and all that.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
You should
'Cause-
DM for him sometime and just make it train.
Well, hey, I'm all up for it. Still got I owe Wisdom some adventures and Rex. I would love to DM for you too. It would be great.
Fun.
But so a couple of things. First of all, everything that these two gentlemen said, 100%. Because I think we all kind of went on a personal level. Like, is this a personal thing? Do you have friends that are doing this? Are you in the middle of friends? Kind of a deal. Because I same thing, right down the middle. I do not give any F's, whatever. But you're talking about business, and that's going to be something. There's a couple of things and that I've. For YouTube, for any kind of media production, when you are producing the media and you're presenting yourself, the version of yourself that you are wanting to sell online, this is a persona that you are going to have on your channel. And what then part of that is deciding what's important to you. What is it that you want to convey? What is it?
Believe it
and
or not,
why?
there isn't much of a persona.
Yeah.
What you see here is quite genuine.
No, well, I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, we all present different
we
selves to
hyperbolize
everyone. This
ourselves
is
a
not the
tad.
GPA I am with my wife or my kids or whatever.
I would
I'm
hope
saying,
not.
You know, yeah,
But this is the
But-
look. The wife is right behind me. I'm going to ask her a question
Right.
and bring her in quick. Babe, is this the me that you deal with on a day-to-day basis? This smug, arrogant prick. You're muted, by the way.
yeah. She doesn't want to get your channel canceled with everything she's swearing right now.
She's struggling with the phone. Here we go.
No, I'm not. I was letting you finish talking. Do you want the real answer? Or you want the answer you want me to give?
Oh, if there's a real answer, go for it.
I mean, to some extent, yes.
Some extent, yes. Oh, that's enough out of you, woman. Be gone with you.
I couldn't hear it. What was that?
There's nothing. She didn't say anything. She agreed with me.
Jack was trying to sell us on his genuineness, and so he
I
tried
am
to
the
get her to
most
back
genuine-
him up.
That
Listen-
I caught.
And
It's in
you're
here.
right.
Listen, Governor,
Yeah.
I've got a watch to sell you. Completely real, I promise.
Yeah. No, I get it. And we all do that, but in the consideration of what we're doing online, I mean, we're all out here we're talking to the whole freaking globe. So we're paying attention to what we're saying. And so you're paying attention to what you're putting on your channel and why you look, okay, I want to do a video on the orc thing. Why do you want to do a video on the orc thing? What's important about the orc thing that you want to share with people? And then what will that do to your business? Does that fit in with your business model? Does that trajectory give you the boost or does it drag you down? There's all of these considerations. And you're right. But the thing is, it's the same damn thing
Do you
that
think
we've
I
been
don't
dealing
see
with.
that wisdom? Do you think I don't see that?
Yeah.
I was literally the elven maid was when I was typing that, and all of a sudden, all these guys jumped in.
Calling me autistic on my own stream, eh?
No,
Okay, screenshot
no.
that. Somebody get the clippy tube, grab it. We gotta put that on the Twitter.
I'm sorry,
Damn.
G-
Brass Dragon
I
and Agronet
swear.
Studios attack Jack.
Oh crap! All right,
I'm grabbing it.
now,
Snipping
so now I'm an
tool.
ableist. Damn
Yep.
it!
Right, no, I
got
jumped
it.
in
I
for the
snipped
funnies
it.
there, GPA,
It's
but you're,
done.
you're more than welcome.
I got
to
it here.
continue.
Okay. I'm not kidding. I snipped it. I'll send it.
Yeah,
All right.
it's-
Anyhow,
it's
but
nippy.
so the point is that you're looking at the broadcast model. I've got broadcast television background, yada yada yada. It's the same damn thing. Everybody thinks that things have changed. It hasn't. Anytime somebody picks up their plastic Pop-Tart, it's going to be sex. It's going to be bombs going off. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. It is. And that's what it is. So that's what sells. YouTube is your newspaper. It's your channel. You're trying to sell stuff on your channel. And the people that have YouTube are trying to sell whatever they have coming from their advertisers. And they need stuff that is going to get attention. So when you put stuff on there that gets attention because people are looking for, oh, who's attacking the woke and who's doing this and who's doing that? Because why? Well, the people on the outside of the bell curve are the ones that are sitting here all day long going,
Terminally online.
because they are on the edges of the bell curve. So then what happens is that drives the way it all works. Who's clicking it the most? Well, the people that are pissed off. Why are they're pissed off about this? So that's what's driving the thing. So you are going to feed them. So you're going to give them the show that they want, at least sometimes, but do it in your own way. You know, if you're going to talk about the stupid orc thing or the drow thing or whatever it is, make sure that you have your own message that you want to say about it in there, being genuine and saying what you're going to say. Use the correct taglines, do all of the kind of crap. And I also know, of course, there's all about the back end of YouTube. There's lots and lots of tutorials on all that shit. I just don't have the time. I get it. I'm technical too, but it's like, I just don't have time for that. I'm going to I'll go out and grab somebody to build all that crap in. Yeah, but it works.
I know
it's
there are
worth
keywords.
a couple hundred
like,
bucks to pay somebody to
every
program that
description.
shit.
I mentioned drow and I mentioned woke. Doesn't matter.
No,
if
there's a back end. I'm talking about there's a total back end. There's all of the keyword shit that you shove up YouTube's butt to get it to go and all of this stuff. But I think that you've got to realize who's Jack the Chronicler on YouTube and who is Jack the you. When you say, are you a fence-sitting, milk-toasty, blah, blah, blah? Do you want your show to be that? Then do it.
Well,
do you want people to believe that really is you? Then do that. But find the middle ground of what you're producing and who you are.
Here's the thing. The Brass Dragon has called me out on this a few times, and he's very right to do so. He said, if you want to be known as the guy that talks about dragons, you can't touch anything else. But I think in today's current climate, there has to be an amount of pushback against what people want to turn dragons into. By that I mean, let's say someone removes orcs from the monster manual. There is obviously a contextual thing that's happened before that. We all saw it. We all saw what WotC put on their website a couple years ago before they took it down in shame. We saw it, you blighters. Do we mention this as to why certain decisions might be being made in part of a critique of the material they're bringing out now? I think so. I think saying, hey, this decision was made for a silly reason is quite important. I mean, I've written about this before on both my blog and in Emmy's magazine, that being apolitical kind of means you have to sort of sit in the middle. And when one side comes over, you give them the middle finger. And when another side comes over, you give them the middle finger. Because, god damn it, I just want my dragons. I don't want Puff the Magic Dragon, every color of the rainbow, who's going to tell me about his gender identity. Thank you, Dragon Age. And I don't want, let's put some kind of World War II analogy in there, or whatever the right wing does. I don't really hear much from them. There is very much a certain direction that I've been bombarded by, and it's just, please stop. Please.
Well, that's the problem, is that the associations into the real world, and you can't say that you don't want Puff the Magic Dragon because, now you're anti-trans and you're anti-left and you're anti-this and you're anti-that. It's like, no, maybe you just don't want Puff the Magic Dragon. Maybe you want... maybe you want whatever Dragon Ball Z Dragon, or you want Granomir Dragon, or you want Falcor Dragon, or whatever. You just don't want that flavor of it. But if you don't like the flavor of it, then it's just on the other side. It's like, well, if you're not playing it as raw, if you're not rules as written, then you're a foofy foof foof. Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, the Brass Dragon brings up a point here.
Yeah.
If you're being apolitical means staying out of it, what if it comes to you? Like, that's what I've been finding. It's like you open it up and there's this. I mean, in my case, I've been involved in the hobby for 2006. How long ago was that? 24, 20, a while
19
ago.
No.
19 years ago? 19? Yeah, my maths ain't so great.
It was yesterday.
And then he says that then you move around it, but then they chase you. These people don't leave you alone. He's like, I just want to talk about dragons, but every time I open something up, it's like, here's this. What happened to that book series that Watsy was going to do with the really colourful, diverse group of heroes and their pet Neo Otyugh, or whatever it was?
I have
you
no idea,
guys
but
see
if you're
that?
being chased by people, you really need to realize, why are you listening to them? Are they important? Do they have a? I mean,
It's not.
if it's
look,
randos,
again,
if it's somebody
it's
important,
official material. It's official material. So if it like the whole, you must address anti-colonialism in your game, not official material, but a very big third-party product. That's the kind of thing that I think the Elven Maid brought this up in her blog. Is, look, sometimes you just have to say that's dumb.
Yep.
Am I wrong in thinking that?
Hell no.
No.
no, you're not wrong in thinking that.
I mean, again, the Brass is saying, look, if you've taken a stance, you've gotten involved, it's a defensive war. Like, no, I to be honest, I agree with him. That's the problem. I do agree with Brass Dragon that now I am involved. The analogy I use is the soldier can be good at killing but hate the war.
Yeah. Well,
And it's just, what do? I just want to read nice books. I want to read I want to read The Dragons of Winter Night and not have someone tell me that it's actually about a post-capitalist agenda for the Marxist new community or something. It's dragons.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what mute and block is for, honestly. I mean, you're always, if people come around and they start spraying crap at you that you don't want, mute and block and move on. Mute and block and move on. That's
I
just
enjoy
the
it,
way
though.
it goes.
That's the problem.
Well, yeah,
it is
you can have
enjoyable.
some of it. Yeah.
I
And-
enjoy some of it, to be able to clap back at some of these idiots. It's funny, because they're in their own little chamber, and because we're part of this role playing game community, these people are also part of it, and so you will always come across this. So it's I remember back in the early 90s when the biggest thing we were arguing about is whether you use miniatures or theater of the mind at the table. And that was heated discussion.
That was still going on in the 4th
Oh, it
edition
is.
days.
It
and
is.
I wish it was still that.
Yeah. But now it's, how did Watsy,
Can we not just argue about railroads and steam
the
trains? And
great
Right.
thing about it, though, is that you have to turn the clock back, because back then, yeah, we go down to the shop and sweaty guy is all like, I can't believe you didn't put that there. Why is this mini not here? This or that or whatever. All that shit, right? We would get into it, or alignment or whatever, what you can and can't do. And you're just like, all right, dude, shut up and play, or whatever. And you just move on, and you leave and you go play with your friends or whatever. But the problem is nowadays it's always on your plastic Pop-Tart, and it's always more, and it's always more and more, and it never ever
terminally
stops.
plugged in.
You have to get control of it. You've got to mute, you got to block, you got to turn the damn phone off. I don't even have it on I have nothing on my phone. That's why nobody can reach me. No socials, no nothing. I come here, do it here, and then I can turn that shit off and
Walk away.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I'm sad about kids today, because I don't know, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But that's, if you're looking at what you want your channel to do, and you're looking at why certain videos are getting the hits, it's because that's what sells, dude. I mean, that the car blows up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, here it is. Or
Oh my gosh.
look, her mini skirt went up a little too high. Oh, That's what sells. That's what's making money. That's what YouTube is going to push in our space, because unless it pisses people off, nobody cares. You know, nobody cares. I mean, the orc thing is because somebody cares, or this or that, because it's tied into other stuff. But there's other things that it's like nobody cares. Nobody's gonna give a shit.
Indeed. No, I completely agree.
So you decide what you want your channel to
Well,
be, and you make your channel what it is.
My decision is I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want at the moment.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've been winging it anyway. It seems to be doing well so far.
Yeah, and keep
More
your
power to you.
criteria list of people you listen to short, because
It's very short. In fact, it's one person.
there you go.
Let's move on, because again, this is we've gotten a bit too close to the culture war, so we're gonna reel this back in. I think
We could
that's
do a little evaluation of why it's a culture war. It's just kind of sad, but I mean, it's like, dude,
not on this show.
we're gamers, just game.
So we're going to
culture.
reel it back, because I think, yes, the culture war is a war that needs to be fought, but not here. I think it's good to have it in the back of one's mind, but there needs to be escapism, because that's why we do these silly little role-playing games anyway.
Yes, that's the point.
War is upon you if you would have it or not.
Indeed it is. Someone clip that.
Just not
Gents,
here.
we've been talking a little bit about books that we've been reading. I talked a little bit about the book club earlier on. So let's go for another 10 minutes or so. I've been reading the Dragons of Winter Night.
Ooh.
What are you reading at the moment, chaps, if anything?
Crap.
Harry Potter.
Books I've started that I never finished.
Harry Potter? What year is it? Then again, I'm reading this, so I can't really. But wisdom, Harry Potter.
I'm here.
Yeah. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. That's where I'm at right now. I've never read the books.
Really?
And so, yeah, that was more like, I don't know. I was out of high school by that time, and almost way out of high school. A few years out of high school by the time it came out, and it kind of went under my radar. And then, the movies came out, and they were good enough. And so, anyways, yeah, it's I love what J.K. Rowling is doing, and part of it, not to touch
Bring us
on
back.
that too much, but
It's
because
inescapable.
J.K. Rowling has, talked about certain social issues, it got me to kind of figure out what she's about, and I wanted to read the books for myself. So,
You see, I suppose
yeah,
I shouldn't
I'm
be
going through the series
surprised.
right now.
Because I was born in 95, and I've grown up with the series. Like, millennial, that's kind of... The joke is that my generation needs to read another bloody book. I read them as they all came out. Like, when I was a kid, I was a voracious reader. I think I read The Deathly Hallows in, like, a night and a bit. I devoured that. It's a chunky book.
Yeah, that's big.
I think the reason that I dislike Harry Potter is more because it was just ubiquitous as I was growing up, and I got fed up of it, rather than any actual dislike. I think I've told the story before of how every Halloween my mother used to dress me up as Harry Potter. And everyone tells me I look like Harry Potter. I look nothing like Daniel Radcliffe. Nothing like him. Right. Take off the glasses? I can't, but now I can't see without my glasses. Oh, that hurts my eyes. So we got Harry Potter. Cerulean, what are you reading at the moment?
I was looking for what I was reading, and I actually can't find it. I have the habit of starting things and never finishing them. But
I also have that habit.
The last thing that I was reading was, well, now I can't think of the title of it. It is the book that Luke Gygax and a particular historian sort of put together. That is it's the story of the origin of the name Gygax as told to the kids by Gary.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I love it.
And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm about halfway through it. And right now, I just realized I don't know where the book is, and there's supposed to be a second piece of it coming out, and it was I was enjoying it quite a lot.
That does sound cool.
and I need to. I'll find the title for you.
Yeah, the problem is if I pick that up, I'll do exactly what you've done. I'll begin reading it, go, that's neat, and then never pick it back up. GPA, what have you been reading at the Mo?
I have books all around. I kind of go by room. If I'm in the living room, I'm reading Dune.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm in my office, I've got all kinds of stuff on the shelf right now. But the biggest one now is The New Thought Simplified by Henry Wood. And this is something, it's 1903. And it's fascinating.
See you, Jesse.
Book about mentalism, mind mastery, thought process. I love all that kind of stuff. And then if I'm in the bedroom right now, it's Dragonlance because my son bought the big new gold omnibus of Chronicles, and so he's going back through it. So we're gonna do it together.
Well, maybe
So,
we can have a chat
depends
about
on
that
where I'm at.
afterwards then, because to say I'm sort of middling the way through Dragons of Winter Night, so that'd be a fun conversation. Let's go through the chat, see what people are reading. So we've got
Some of the best reads I've just had is Kuntz, the fourth category.
I do need to pick that up.
Fantastic! My God, it is just it'll blow your
Appendix N
freaking
first,
mind.
though.
I think the last book of Kuntz that I read was Lightning, which is a really great book. A very long time ago. Kuntz is a neat author. Yeah, that's cool.
Teddy is reading Ard's Oath series by Bruce Centaur. Warning, spicy. The Elven Maiden really likes The Black Company. I tried reading the first bits of it. It wasn't quite for me. I might try it again because she does keep banging on about how good it is. It might be one of those things that once you get past the first couple chapters, really kind of like gets into its own. But
I've had a lot of people say really good things about that one too, and I don't know where to find them. Maybe eBay. I don't think they're
There
in
is-
print right now. Are they?
Audible has it on audiobook. When I read books, I do partial read and I do partial audiobook because I'm at work the majority of the time.
Yeah.
So it's just
If you're
easier to
doing
listen.
Dragonlance and you're looking for audiobook, get the ones by Random House, read by Stephen McNichol.
The ones that I am
Or
listening
Peter
to at
McNichol.
present
Peter McNichol.
is if I can find it. They don't really make this easy on Audible to find information once you've already opened the book as to who is reading it.
You probably won't find it because you have
yeah.
to find it on certain YouTube channels. But Peter McNichol did them back in the 80s and did all
it's
the
definitely not that
voices,
one,
did
then.
all the. Oh my God.
I mean, I don't
it
really
is-
care
for
about what a
Dragonlance,
narrator sounds like a lot of the time, as long as because I'm doing shelves and things anyway. But so we got the Black
it's great.
Company from Emmy. We've got anyone else putting things here? Yeah, Guardians of the Flame by Rosberg. Someone says that Harry Potter is my autobiography. Heretic, you will find my wrath waiting for you. King of Elfland's Daughter. Don't know that one. Any of you guys know that one? King of Elfland's Daughter? No, it doesn't ring any bells with me. Blaine Pardot's Land and Sea. Anyone know that one? Sword and Deviltry from Shell Black Bow.
Yeah.
Swords and Deviltry, or Swords? Is that a Liber?
Liber, yeah.
Liber? That's another guy that I need. I'm going back through. I started
Like
going
Mark.
through classic fantasy without realizing Appendix N existed.
Uh-huh.
And now that I know Appendix N exists, I may as well use that. But I started reading Elric and fell in love with him immediately. Great character. Ready Player 2 is, I'm told, very good, but it's a little mainstream for my tastes. Any more books being read? Y'all
Ready
reading
Player
books?
One was great.
Y'all reading books? Yeah.
Ready Player One was great.
Elvermaid says the D&D rules cyclopedia, and she's in love with Beckme, whatever that is.
Nice.
Iron Empire's rolling up making him feel like a barbarian. Read a book, become a fighter. The Vanishing Tower from Elliot Vernon, very nice indeed. And also talking about Appendix N. Liber is amazing, and it's Noble Shield's favorite author at the moment.
And the book title I could not remember was the Gygax Odyssey.
Gygax Odyssey. Maybe something to look into. Chaps, we're coming to 2.5 hours of streaming now.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to have a little wind down, have a little wrap up. And as everyone lays down their heads for rest this evening, and I realise I'm a tad ahead of you, do remember that you should have liked the stream, you should have subscribed to the channel, and you should have also shared the channel about and said that this is your favourite YouTuber right now, and everyone should go and subscribe to him, because otherwise you'll feel ever so guilty for having not done it at this moment.
How many likes do you have right now on YouTube?
How many likes are on the stream at present? Let's have a look, shall we? 26, which to be honest is about as high as
On
we've gone
YouTube?
concurrently on YouTube. 26 likes on YouTube, and we've had about 20 to 30 people at any time watching. I'm all right with that. It's been
Are
a
you
very
sure? How many
healthy-
likes are there?
on YouTube on the stream?
Yeah.
The likes
I don't think it's 26.
28. Okay, I've just got a few more there. Lovely.
28. Gosh darn it. You people are ruining. I unliked it just because it was going to poke at you.
You're supposed to be co-host.
It's dropping. It's dropping. Ah!
I don't think it's live. But no, look, guys. This is the third episode of the podcast, the stream, whatever you want to call this. Brass Dragon gave it a dislike. Doesn't matter. Still counts as a quarter of a like or whatever it is. I really appreciate the people that keep showing back up. I'm seeing new names every week, which is great. Really appreciate that. I've been really enjoying doing this because, as I said earlier on, I know it's a bit memey, but I do enjoy bringing people together to have these conversations, especially when I can get some of the younger guys on as well, because I find that bridging the gap between generations in this hobby is incredibly important, because most of them played 5th edition, whereas I came from 3.5, and that's still, anathema to some of the older guys. It's a fun time. So, guys, you can go and follow me at Lost Scholar on X. You can obviously follow me here, which you should already be doing. GPA, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Graph Paper Architect. You can find me on Twitter, Graph Paper Architect, Facebook, Graph Paper Architect. I think you're all sensing a theme here. You can also find Tactical Fantasy Games, which we're just about ready. Oh, boy.
In regards to that, I was having a conversation with Neon.
Yeah. Yeah, he told me that you checked in on me when I went dark.
I was looking for you, man. I was worried.
Oh my gosh, it's great because you can stream Walking Dead as long as you have power, and then you can just be Walking Dead. Yeah, and we had snowpocalypse, and the power was going up and down and sideways, but yeah, it was.
Bad time to be
Tactical
sick.
Fantasy Games. It's our company, but it's been in the works for a while now, and it's it is. It's like I scheduled a long lunch today, but then I'll be right back at work, and then and you work on the website a little bit here and there, and then you realize that what you're working on is crap.
Throw it all out the window. Start again.
It's exactly. You gotta have new hosting. It's a process. But yes, you can find me on YouTube. I'm active on Twitter. I am a diehard cultist, Agronac Cult. So you can find me in there.
May I have a few members of that cult for my channel, sir?
Yeah, they've been in the chat.
I know. They're saying Agronac Cult. They were saying at the beginning as well. See you, Cyrus. Thanks for coming, man.
See you, Cyrus.
See you
Later.
In terms of, Neon of Clownfish TV, he's been on the channel once before. He's just a really lovely bloke. I've had a couple chats with him now.
Yeah, Neon's awesome. Known him for a long time now, and it's good stuff.
Enough about that. Agronac Studios, DM Wisdom, man with the tree sap mustache.
Yeah. YouTube, Agronac Studios. You can go to our website, Agronac, AGRANAK.com. You can find the list of wherever we're at and click on those things. And there you go.
Nice. No, I do appreciate it. I mean, the videos are hilarious. I like them a lot. Cerulean.
So I'm Cerulean Rex just about everywhere, but there are some variations. And on X, I would be Cerulean _Rex. And I think on YouTube, I'm just straight up Cerulean Rex, all one word. And on Facebook, the Cerulean Rex, because believe it or not, someone yanked that name out from under me in a couple of cases. So wouldn't have thought so. Those, and then of course you can also find my commentary around fantasy art in either X or Facebook, looking for the group Knights of Brush and Palette. That's the
excellent group,
fantasy art group that I run with some help of some great people.
I've been lurking in there for a week now, and I very much enjoy.
I'm glad.
I'm going right now.
By the by, Wizard King's a fantastic, amazing bid. You off, are you, GPA?
No, I'm going there right now. I'm just.
Oh, right. Because
when
yeah,
he said
going
that, I'm
right
going
now.
on
Like, oh,
Facebook.
bye, Ben.
And so I look for Knights of what?
Brush
Knights of Brush and Palette.
and Palette.
I think it's actually linked at the top of Cerulean's X.
Oh, yes, it is actually.
Which I will put in the chat.
I'd forgotten that.
There you go. It's at the top of
that's
that
new.
profile there. Other than that, chapettes, thank you for joining. Modwife, thank you for modding. Thumbs up.
Oh, we're closing up. Oh,
We're
Knights
closing
and Brush
up.
and Palette. All right.
There's no tax.
one more
to
thing.
that.
One more thing I want to say.
One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Robert J. Kuntz.
Mm-hmm.
You mean that neighborhood kid?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
the rando neighborhood kid.
Rando.
Oh, God.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying, Jack. I was telling you I was going to come in hot if
Yeah,
that
that's what I was
came up, and
expecting,
I'm
but
telling
it's-
you,
yeah.
the 50 cals are warming up right
Dip,
to
dip,
hell
dip,
now.
dip, dip,
This
stop.
this
We're
dirtbag
ending.
needs
This is
to
it.
go.
This is the
He
end.
needs to go with
This is the end of
slaying
the
dragon
stream.
guy. They need to
Man of
die in
war.
a
We're going to
fire.
stop.
No, I don't mean that.
Cerulean,
No,
do you see what you've done?
I do. I do. I accept full
just to
responsibility.
say it, because Rob's awesome, and it's just like with the level of non-professionalism. It's like, everybody's got their own opinions and whatever, and you got to figure out. It's like, and I, of course, like I don't like actual Nazis, not one damn bit. But if I was a historian, I would actually write the actual history for what actually happened, and then I'd be like, this is what actually happened, dude.
Yep.
Anyhow, okay.
Go to my profile,
Man.
find the meme, share it.
Dude pissed me off. I
The
don't get
cat
pissed off.
is now bothering me because we're not
Yeah.
in bed yet.
What is the cat's name?
This is Mac and Fleas.
Mac and Fleas.
Mac and
That is-
Fleas.
That's awesomely cute. And how old is Mac and Fleas?
How old is Mac now? How old?
9.
9. You're getting old,
Aw.
girl.
9.
You're getting old.
Yeah,
She.
good shape.
I've got an orange tabby her age, and and another one who is about to turn 18.
Mass production model cat. Yes, soon.
The cat is how you win the internet.
Right, but no, yes, everyone should go and follow Rob Kuntz at 3line Studio on X to help in that fight, because good God, that was a travesty.
And if you really want to support him too, you can find his latest module on the website for it's the Fellowship of the Thing.com. He's working with the guys who put together.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I do know of a pair of dudes that I know that may or may not have reviewed said thing, but I don't know how much I'm allowed to say until that actually comes about, so I'm going to shut up.
Fair.
But I didn't get sent one though, Rob. Why didn't I get sent one? It doesn't matter. Right, we're going to close up shop because I've been trying to close for a while. We're leaking viewers. Everyone's fed up. Library's closed. Please put your books back on the shelves. Thank you all very much for coming. Like, subscribe, etc., etc., etc.